Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I am kind of excited today. I teased it like 2 weeks ago and then got delayed, and I can finally say what was getting delayed this whole time. GitHub has released a brand new app, the GitHub Copilot app, which you'll probably, if people have been watching social media, the MVPs have been going crazy, posting links and sharing videos and all kinds of stuff. So some of us have had access to this thing for a little over a month, 2 months now, something like that, and I've been playing with it. It has honestly been my daily driver, and I haven't been able to talk or show it or any of that stuff, which has been incredibly frustrating to me because I have loved it so much. So anyone who has heard me comment about how Copilot CLI is great and it's awesome to go through and use the Copilot CLI. Part of the motivation for saying that is knowing this app was coming, and the muscle memory of the CLI transfers directly over. So that's the motivation. I still don't mind the CLI. It's still a great interface to go through and do, but this one's better. It's awesome. So I am excited. I am tickled to death. For anyone, good timing. YouTube link up there. So I put out a video, and I'll drop a direct link into the chat here in a moment, of an interview with the PM from the team that helped build this. So he was kind enough to be willing to sit down and chat with me for about 45 minutes, kind of about the app, the vision, where things are going, all of that stuff. So if you are interested in that, check out my interviews playlist. It's the first one on my YouTube channel. It's the one with Pierce. He's the latest one out there. Let's jump over to fun stuff. So if we go here, right? So for people who are interested, this is the video here. I'll drop a direct link. Then I will probably keep these things open for a little bit. So Copilot app. Here is the announcement that came out. All right. So this is the one out on GitHub, and you'll see links and whatnot from their various socials and whatnot. But all of them end up pointing you right here, right? And this is showing off the app. Now, I may have talked briefly on the app because about 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was a GitHub conference in India where they teased this app a little bit. They showed it off and kind of said something along the lines of, hey, this is just something we're working on. We're not ready to release it yet, yada, yada, yada. Now we're at the releasing. And I will clarify, this is a technical preview. So this is not a GA thing. There are lots of things that have to go in before this thing is GA ready, right? Even simple things like when we get to installing and whatnot, I will show it to people, like the setup exe isn't signed yet. Like there are things of that nature that you would expect on a fully released product that are not there. This is early access. Let's, beat on it for a bit, get feedback, get it polished up, get it going. I think one of my coworkers said it really nice earlier today of this thing has lots of potential, but it's missing some core bits that I want, right? Like that's kind of the state that we're at. With that said, it is by far my favorite Copilot experience. Of all the different GitHub Copilots that we have, this one's my favorite. And it's not even close, all right? We'll go through why. So here's the whole announcements. Now, the key thing here is if you do need a GitHub Copilot subscription. So if you aren't using GitHub Copilot, sorry, this video is going to be heavily focused on that. We're going to jump in to do some open source with it here in a little bit just to kind of show off its what it can do. But just be aware for everybody out there that this is very much, it is GitHub Copilot, the GitHub Copilot app. The hint is in the name, right? So if you are on a personal plan, they are accepting applications to let people in to it, and it's just because they are needing to control the influx of feedback that is going to be barraging them. Like just the MVPs barraging them was already a lot. I can only imagine what's about to happen now. It's going to be floodgates open. For people who are on business or enterprise, there is a preview switch if you can get your admins to flip on that can give you access today. So for people on business and whatnot, so my colleagues, because I am one of our GitHub admins, I immediately went and flipped the switch. So, or I guess colleague went and flipped the switch, but regardless, we had the thing on basically as soon as the announcement went live, because it was like, yes, ready, set, go, let's do this thing. Because I had a number of colleagues that were like, yes, we absolutely want to go try this thing. So yeah, so this is the sign up form for people who are on personal accounts and whatnot, and it will take you over to here. So technically anyone can get to this repo. However, you're going to get blocked pretty quick when it comes to the sign in to GitHub part. So just be aware that even though you can get to the repo and download the installer and that kind of thing, it's not going to, you're going to hit a roadblock pretty quick in the process. But you'll note this repo, this is not an open source product, right? Just going to clarify this. Just because there's a repo here, it is not an open source. You can kind of tell immediately just by looking at what is in this repository, right? We've got very little stuff, right? This is a repo that's focused on receiving feedback from developers and hosting the releases. That is its purpose in life, right? So we've got the key thing down here on releases. And I think if we go here, there's only 5, but I think we can probably get a pretty good idea of something. So I want to note something. There's v2.0 that they put in here 2 days or 3 days ago, right? v2.01 2 days ago. And you can look at these release notes. They're like, I'm scrolling through them very quickly, but there's a lot of bullet points on here, right? 2.2 yesterday. 2.3 5 hours ago. 2.4 32 minutes ago. This team releases bloody fast, like insane speed fast. Now, admittedly, some of that is AI driven, but this team is very much at the forefront of, let's see what we can do to try to make this product go fast. Now, again, technical preview. I want to set some expectations. So drop your bar from, I can't believe they would release this kind of product. It's like, well, they have it. This is the preview, and they know it's not fully GA ready. They know there are missing gaps. They are seeing those things, and they want the feedback, right? That's the key thing here, right? It's only been out since this morning, and we've got 48 issues currently open and 11 closed already, right? So there is a, wow, that's kind of funny. I don't know what to do with that. Some of these issues may not be real issues, as happens in, open source. So, but this is where it'll get you. And if you want to get going, what you end up doing is you go to the latest release. You come down here and you find the relevant installer for your system, right? I'm an x64 Windows, so I grabbed this guy here and downloaded. Again, not signed. Just be aware of that. Your browser will probably flag it, let it through, etc., etc., etc. Right? Like things like this are what are getting adjusted later. Right? So there is all of that. And then when it downloads and installs, here we are. Happiness. Wonderful. This is. So I'm going to hit the sign into GitHub and then probably immediately move over here. And then I'm going to just do the auth off screen because I don't really want to do it on screen. So I'm going through standard GitHub auth flow stuff. And I am 2-factor authing and doing the needful and pressing buttons. And we are in. We are in. Here we go. So this is a GitHub Copilot app. However, you do not have to only use it with GitHub-based things. You will have the best experience if you use GitHub-based repos. But in my day job, I use it with an Azure DevOps project, and it works just fine. It's just worth noting that there are some features that you are kind of hamstrung on because you are effectively relying on your agent to leverage, say, in my case, the Azure DevOps MCP or the Azure DevOps CLI or the Azure CLI to do functions because there isn't that integration that there can be with GitHub on a GitHub app, right? Let's see here. And we are, let me double check where I put my repositories because I think if I point it at the same directory I was using, because I wiped my state before doing this, and I think I can just change it to point into the same directory, and we're going to see if that works. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but I would like it on my dev drive. There we go. Oh, actually, that's not where I want it to be. I want it to be here, and I want it to be here. And then it will find repositories. That will work. And we'll start with our material design library, and we will continue. Okay. This is also one of the cool things, right? There are themes. And there are actually... Feeling lucky? Oh, that is so cool. So we'll get into the settings, but there are actually quite a few themes. Izzy, Merry Christmas. Welcome in. We are excited. We have new GitHub Copilot app. I am tickled to death. Wonderful happiness. The world makes sense. All the feels. Sorry, I am beyond excited for today. Actually, real quick, let me go because I have a feeling I'm going to have to do this a couple times. I'm going to get all of the links, and I'm just going to put them into a... I'm just going to put all of the links into a little temp clipboard over here where I can just go copy, paste all the things. And then when inevitably people ask, I will have... I should just put this on like a Nightbot timer or something. There's all the cool links. Okay, sure, that theme looks good. We are connecting to our repositories. Let the sessions begin. Okay, we are in. And zooming works, which is important. This is a native app. This is not an Electron-based app. So that's kind of like, it's kind of cool. Like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of Electron-y apps have started, like, without effort, they start to feel a little bloated. But we're gonna do the quick tour through here. So step 1, home screen, right? This is where you land. This is where you start. There's your standard chat box. More importantly, when you get angry with Copilot, you can grab a hold of the kitty and you could throw the kitty into a wall. I do not condone violence against animals, but then the kitty, falls, right? You go, whee, boom. Or you can take the kitty and you can take your spacebar and arrow keys and make the kitty run, and whee, boom, right? So little things. That makes me excited. But we can start chatting. And then the key thing here is we have the same modes that we have in the CLI, right? So I am shift tabbing here to automatically bounce between these. They're the same ones you see down here. Interactive, which is your basic, hey, let's go back and forth. Let's figure something out. We're having a discussion. There is plan mode, which is effectively work with me to put together a plan, but don't actually make the changes yet. And then autopilot, which is effectively your YOLO mode, right? And so depending on where you're at and what you are doing, this is kind of cool. This is where you get some of the cool stuff out there. So the other key thing to note here is that when you are starting from a repository and it's going to make a brand new Git work tree based on this branch, right? So this is kind of that same flow that I showed with like Git Kraken, where you can quickly spin the agent stuff and it will make a work tree and go. This thing is it feels like a couple clicks less because I just start my prompt and go and it spins the work tree. Now, depending on how you clean stuff up, you'll want to make sure you go through and clean up the work tree directory at some point, because I have definitely like abandoned sessions and stuff and it slowly just builds up. And so occasionally I'll just, scorch earth and clean things out. We'll go and show that in a little bit. And then obviously we have model selectors and various things in here. I've actually been favoring auto recently. I do not know what they changed behind the scenes, but auto has actually been not bad. And it's been reasonably good at selecting a halfway decent model for whatever we're doing. So do with that what you will. The other one is the codex models have actually been pretty good for me recently. So oftentimes I find auto ends up dropping me either into Sonnet or codex for most of what I task it with. Occasionally I see it land on Opus. And so it lands there. JC, welcome in. Welcome in. We are playing with GitHub's new app. And I am going to apologize for everybody who doesn't have immediate access to it. I have been biting my tongue wanting to talk about this for months, and they released the reins this morning. I was so happy, so happy, because this is what I have jokingly called the good Copilot. So this is my favorite GitHub Copilot interactive interface. So this is the kind of the starting point here, but there's a couple interesting things that I think are worth pointing out, right? So one, we can pick a GitHub repository. Two, we can just pick an arbitrary Git URL, right? So again, I use this on a DevOps project. I just pointed at the Git repository for the DevOps thing and I'm off to the races, right? It's not as nice of an experience. I definitely am lacking some buttons and some functionality, but I still get all of the happiness that I'm about to show you. The other cool one that is worth calling out is you have a local folder or repository. And this is something, if you check the YouTube video out on the interview one with Pierce, there was a point in there I was asking about, the multi-repository setup versus mono repo and being able to deal this. And he made a comment that I had to go back and check later. But you can actually, so for projects that tend to be like polyrepo or lots of different repositories, does it work with DevOps Server? It works with any URL you can point it at. So if you can get the GitHub CLI to work with it, this should have no problem. So the same team that builds this does the GitHub Copilot CLI. So the rapid updates that you see with the CLI, yeah, it's the same team that's doing the rapid updates with this. Like, they are intentionally doing it. And part of it is because they're trying to invest in the Copilot SDK. So whenever they can do updates to the SDK, all these products then get the benefits of it, right? So this guy, the CLI, you'll see a lot of similarities because they're both using the same SDK. And so when functionality can be pushed into there to be shared with everybody, they do, which is cool, right? But that's also why we're getting this rapid iteration of bang, 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 features dropping left and right, which is awesome. So as long as the CLI can reach the Git endpoint, it's perfectly happy to go. Again, you will get some of the functionality, I'll point it out when we get to it, won't work. Some of it is absolutely GitHub only. But with that said, it's still a very, very nice interface. The ability to just type a prompt in here alone and immediately kick off into a work tree and start running, that alone I think is 100% like worth it and nicer, because with the CLI, I still have to spin the work tree. I still then have to navigate in there, right? GitKraken makes that easier for me, right? Because they'll do the work tree bit for me. They'll open the terminal, they get my Copilot CLI in there. They'll get me started. I can do all of that. It does take a few more clicks, but whereas here, I can just type my prompt and go, right? And again, I'll kick stuff off. But for a poly repo setup, you can, if you've got all of your repos in like a parent folder where it's like, yeah, I'm going to check out, I'm working on Project Foo. I'm going to put all of Foo's different repositories inside of this one folder. You can point this at that parent directory and then act on that, right? It doesn't have to start from an individual repository. But there's also another way it can work with multiple things as well. Inside of here, and I think they moved it. Oh, we got to fix this. So one, experimental options, all the things on. But the agents inside of this app, because you'll note we have this, and I'm going to, so you'll see how it's grouped by project, right? So I'm going to go through GitHub repository. Let's do XAML test, right? XAML test. So these projects that are in here, they can interact with each other. And they can, if in my chats, I go through and say, hey, I also need a change in XAML test as well as my material design in XAML toolkit, it can find those projects and spin sessions in those other ones. See, which language do you use? I am primarily a .NET guy, so a lot of C#. Not completely. There's obviously TypeScript and Terraform and other related stuff, but my bread and butter is definitely C#. Toasty sandwich. So that is definitely where I lean a lot. So the fact that these agent sessions can interact with each other is a really nice thing. Like even earlier today, I was working in one repository. It's like, oh, I need to make, because I was doing some health probe stuff. I'm like, well, I need to make a change in my API repo, but then that also requires a change in my infrastructure repository. Prompt my way in. It's like, okay, well, we now need to set up, the startup probe in the infrastructure side. And it went, spun a session, passed the relevant context into it, and started working on that over in my other project, which is awesome. One of the things I'm not completely happy about is I want more organization in this left bar, right? And unfortunately, the only organization we have at our disposal right now is colors. So we can make things fun colors as a way of organizing things. I want like full folders and all the things down here. We don't have that yet. So it is just our two views that we have are group by project and straight session list, which then basically just gives you the child nodes of this. So those are the only options we currently have, hoping for more. All of this stuff. The inbox is actually kind of a cool view into the repository of showing the stuff that needs my attention. This is one of those areas where this is kind of active development. Try to figure out what to do, because right now the GitHub notifications and inbox, like, they keep doing revisions of it because it's so easy to just get spam logged down. And so this gives a nice view of being able to kind of show stuff that's in here. For reference, I was using this app on one of my own repositories last night. I did 34 PRs in 2 hours. Like, we were cooking. Me and Copilot got on a roll, and we were rocking. Now, admittedly, this is a repository that is in use by just me, and I can full YOLO because the blast radius is just me. So, clarification there. I was able to run that fast because if anything went wrong, I was the only one affected. Private repository, solo user, I can get away with that. Don't do that in real apps. So I will call it a toy app, and toy apps can be YOLO'd because the risk is minimal. So new inbox view, which is kind of cool, as well as kind of this new section stuff. This is kind of similar to what you get out on GitHub, where you can kind of, like in the projects view, put together different views of your issues and whatnot with various GitHub queries, which is cool, right? Like, love it. But I mean, this is one of those areas that you will not get leveraging, like, say, a DevOps issue board, right? This is a GitHub integration, so it's not going to give you other things, right? That's the one disadvantage here. Let's see. With Copilot, how and where do you pay for subscriptions? I seem to have both an M365 and GitHub subscriptions for Copilots. So yes, that can be. So depending on what you're doing, that is potentially valid. So unfortunately, Microsoft has slapped the word Copilot on, I don't know, 50 different products, probably more. There's tons of them out there. So the M365 Copilot is going to be giving you functionality primarily for like Office, SharePoint, those types of apps and integrations. So if you are using Copilot to, say, help put together a PowerPoint presentation, work on a Word document, spreadsheet, etc., right? That's your M365 Copilot. And that would potentially be what you're paying that subscription for there. I think their first tier starts at like $30 a month. Don't quote me on that. Things have changed a lot recently in pricing, and I haven't stayed up on it. But oftentimes your M365 Copilot, that's the Copilot interaction around your other M365 ones. GitHub Copilot is the one that's going to give you Copilot inside of VS Code, JetBrains tooling, this new app, the Copilot CLI on GitHub.com itself, the code review agent, the coding agent. I'm trying to think of what else is under the GitHub Copilot umbrella. There's like a dozen different Copilots under that one thing, but that's what the GitHub subscription is. So underneath your account out on GitHub, that's where that subscription will go. The one thing to be aware of is with the GitHub Copilot subscription, right now it is one subscription per GitHub user. Those are a one-to-one link, which is a little obnoxious, and I've started working on trying to switch stuff up of how I manage my own, because I get both a GitHub Copilot subscription through my employer, as well as because I'm a Microsoft MVP. And unfortunately, I can't have both of those benefits tied to one account. I can only have one. And I with a lot of the pricing changes that are coming, I don't like before the cost was so minimal, no one cared. But now that the cost is going to be going up, especially for more heavy users like myself, I was going to move like my open source work onto my MVP subscription and then leave my work stuff on a work account. So there is going to be some juggling of that for now. The team is aware of that kind of painful setup and they are working on solutions, but last I asked, I think the answer was we have nothing to share at this time. So aware of it, working on it, nothing to share. That's it. Okay. Workflows are cool, but we'll come back to them maybe a little bit later. We'll show it now. But this is effectively automating. This is like having local agentic workflows inside of your app. So on my work machine, I have a weekly one that maybe is called fill out my timesheet because I'm way too lazy. I also have one that goes through and updates my items on our DevOps board that a few minutes before my stand-up, so that when I inevitably forget to update my items on the board, my agent goes through, builds out a list, and then prompts me and says, hey, I want to move these things. Is this good? Yep, send it. And then my PM thinks that I actually, update my items. Conveniently, it always seems to happen about 10 minutes before stand-up. Shocker, because I got lazy and automated my way through, which is a very convenient way of cheating. Let's see, discard. Let's see. Have you ever had a WPF app need access to a third-party API that uses a key, and how did you distribute the key to the client application? Ooh, good question. So, let's see. The last one I had to do, I think, was... Well, we did do one that interacted with Twilio, and then I did do one that interacted with ArcGIS. So ideally, in the best situation, you don't have the desktop app go directly to the third party because sometimes you have to do it. But in general, the idea is you make those integrations behind an API, your app goes to the API, that way you're in control of that integration. It's hard to get abused. You don't have to worry about the key on the device. With that said, that's not always reasonably possible. What we did in the last situation is because we weren't able to actually force the integration to go through an API for various reasons. The app was required to go directly to the API. But the app was, whenever the app had to go to the third-party API, that meant that the app was online. And in this case, the app was kind of sometimes online, sometimes offline. But in this case, because it was going to a third-party API, it had to be online. So what we did is we stood up a API, and we effectively had the app call home and request the key from the API, passing various user information and whatnot. That way we could validate that the person was able to use said key. Then we distributed the key down. Then the app used the key to go to the service. Now, was not a great solution because if we ever had to cycle that key, it was going to affect everybody. And there was always that potential downtime if somebody had just requested the key and then we, cycled it and killed them. But it did give us the ability to cycle the key as needed. In this case, the app wasn't like a consumer app. It was very tightly controlled on who it went out to. So it was kind of going to a trusted audience, but kind of not. They were internal-y, sorta. So there was we had a little bit of play there because of who we were distributed to. But I think what I would say is, if you are able, make the key cyclable by you without having to push an update to the app. Right? So ideally have the app retrieve the key from an external source like an API or similar that you control, and then have it use that. That way, if and when you need to cycle that key, you have the ability to do so. It's not great. It's slightly better than putting the key directly into the app itself, but it is still a generalized problem of if you put the key in the app, you can obfuscate and do all kinds of stuff. But the short version is if the app makes the call to the third party, there's very little you can do to stop somebody intercepting that key going from the app to the third party. Yeah. Encrypt and store in database. Yeah. Yeah. You could do all you want to encrypt it at rest and inside of the app, and that's good. But at the end of the day, most of the time, like if I'm trying to grab somebody's key for any reason, I just fire up Fiddler and I watch the app make the call out to the third party. Because more often than not, the key goes. Now, that may not be true. In like an HMAC situation where the key isn't actually put on the wire, it's just used to encrypt the data, you might be able to get something through there that way. But I think I would say avoid storing the key in the app code itself, make the app retrieve it, and make it retrieve it on a reasonable enough cadence that if you need to cycle, that process isn't painful, right? Because at some point you will potentially need to cycle it, and by having it retrieved from an external source, that also gives you the ability, depending on what the app is and how it's distributed, maybe if you've got like 3 different clients, you may have 3 different keys and you assign each one of them their own key. That way if you need to cycle it, it only ever affects one at a time, right? There's plenty of things that could go into it, but avoiding having it there and giving yourself the ability to cycle it without an app update, I think would be the best advice I have. Izzy, time to start applying for a mortgage so I can feed my addiction. Yeah, and proxy API is better. Yes, correct. When possible, don't have your app directly going to the third party. It's always better to have your app go through an API that's in your control, because then there's no way, then it is much more difficult to see how it to see that traffic. Seeing how much Fiddler costs. Fiddler Classic. Fiddler Classic, though. I'm aware because you can still go get Fiddler Classic. Yeah, because Fiddler Everywhere they charge for, but Fiddler Classic, where is it? You can still get for free now. Yeah, and so the key here is, Fiddler Classic is not an active development and offers no commitments for releases, patches, tech support, etc., right? It's basically, at some point, it may die because Windows does something that breaks it, but if you're okay with the older app, it still works great. I still use it. At some point, it would be cool if there was something nicer. Obviously, the nicer thing is the Fiddler Everywhere that they built, but yeah, they do charge for it, which is not as good. Anyway, workflows, automation, search is a search, right? But this is kind of an interesting way of being able to go through and query all of your various chats and sessions and all of that kind of stuff. You can search repos, PRs, issues, all this kind of thing. So it's not just a straight search, but there's a lot of power here. Again, some of the search for like PRs, issues, and otherwise, this is leveraging GitHub APIs. So if you are using this app with non-GitHub repositories, you will have a reduced experience here. Right? Again, not broken, but it's definitely reduced. Although I'm starting to get annoyed with Claude, keeps trying to break my design when I have documentation decisions that say no. Yeah, and I think some people are figuring this out, that there is no... I'll put it, I need to be careful how I phrase this. When using prompting alone to put guardrails up on your agent, it is a best effort, not a guarantee. I think I'll put it that way. Prompting alone is always going to be a best effort. And like better models, best effort is good, but it's never going to be perfect. Right? Okay. Couple more things to show off before we actually dive in and start doing this thing, because I love this thing. Why the heck am I running version 0.1.43? Interesting. Restart now. What could be worse than installing an update midstream, right? This is fun. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. There we go. Okay. They didn't add too much to me. Let me just check my version. There we go. Check for updates. I know there shouldn't be any new updates, but you know what? They release updates so fast. Sometimes I expect it. They did add the cool new ad project down here. So the UI that I showed before, a little old. Did not realize I had installed an old version. My mistake. I thought I had pulled down the latest from the repo. Yeah, even using Markdown to specify them has its issues. Yeah, and there's a lot of people trying to solve that problem right now of going through and dealing with effectively how do we get the right context available at the right time, right? Because sometimes you want it to pan out, get a bigger app view of what it's doing. Other times you really need it to zero in. There's the instructions and skills. You can try to put things together, but getting it right perfectly every time is really hard. It is really hard. Okay, so want to show some settings things off. So check for updates, blah, 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 default model. Oh, this is new. We're going to default it to auto. That's fine. This. Okay, I get excited about the stupid, simplest little features. Look at all of the theme colors. There's lots of them. This makes me, I am irrationally happy about this, right? There's even the little dice roll for when you want to get fancy and just throw something out there like, wow, that purple's a little strong. We'll go with it. But, you've got your light theme if you don't like your eyes, dark theme if you do, or in my case, system, because my system's set to dark, right? Of being able to go through and do it. That you can change the terminal and off to the races. See, I need a YOLO 32 gig so it uses all my RAM and doesn't compact so much. Yeah. Dangerous. Very dangerous. Okay, themes. MCP servers. This is... So I will only rant for a moment. This is once again yet one more place to configure your MCP servers on yet another Copilot system. With that said, it will leverage so if you have configured the Copilot CLI with MCP servers inside your repository, it will use those. That is fine. These are, we will call them global level MCPs that you want your Copilot to potentially have access to in other situations as well, right? I oftentimes will include things like Azure because basically that's where I'm deploying nearly everything. And so if I'm going out, that's useful. I will often include things, and we'll just do it now. I will add the Microsoft Learn MCP because I do all this .NET stuff. Even when I am outside the context of a repository and I'm just chatting, I want to be able to have that thing in there. Context 7, feel free to use it. You got to go grab the API key to put it in. But there are a whole bunch of these MCP servers available. NuGet got added recently. Excellent. I will have to... I don't know that I'm going to add it at the global level, but I need... Actually, you know what? Maybe I do want it at the global level. There's very few repos I work with that don't have NuGet involved in them. So we'll go through and plug that in as well. So lots of MCPs, again, at a top level of where they're going to go. Skills. This is foreshadowing. We'll come back to it. Accessibility stuff. The key thing here is the keyboard shortcuts because we all need to keep our hands off the mice, yada, yada. Accounts. You can see someone may have gone a little eager on his premium request spend. Again, 34 PRs, 2 hours. Just saying. Blue Spider, good evening. Thank you very much. I am well. I am very excited. I am very excited about this app. So this is the GitHub Copilot app for people who haven't seen it. I'm going to be spamming the same set of links all night. So first one's a YouTube video of me interviewing the PM for this product, of just discussing the app, where it's going. The other two are the signups. Be aware if you are on personal subscription for Copilot, you have to request entry into the preview. If you are business or enterprise tier, your admins can flip a switch to get you in immediately. So just be there. Yep. And obviously I have to turn on every experimental flag because that is required. And I have this agent session automations is new to me. Create lightweight chat automations by repeating prompts on a schedule. Yep, that sounds like something I want. That sounds like something I want. That is lovely. So settings, there we are. There's good stuff. The key tips I would point to people are I turn on every experimental flag as quick as I possibly can, because so far it has not bitten me at all, and I love seeing all of the potential new stuff. Again, sometimes their experimental features, when they actually put it into the app, they tweak some stuff, but these are in here as a way of getting early feedback on some things that they want to try. And so it's a nice one. That probably looks like mine. I keep it in the weekly limit. Resets Monday morning, so I only need to wait 1 hour at most. Yeah, and I think a lot of people, like right now in the AI space, everybody's trying to figure out billing and timing and rate limiting and how to manage all of this increased load and all that stuff. And I'm kind of so one, GitKraken did this way back when they first added like their AI tokens. Is they didn't do monthly, they did weekly, and I loved it when they did that, and I'm happy to see that more and more people are starting to throw in on this. Hey, let's not do monthly limits, yet let's use weekly limits, because people are more likely to spend it if they know that it's going to reset quicker, right? Otherwise, it's like, do I want to spend those tokens? It's only the 5th of the month. What if I need them later? But if it's like, it's going to reset Monday, like maybe I do that a little bit on Monday, some on Tuesday. By Wednesday, it's like, I'm getting close to the end of the week. And by Thursday, Friday, it's like, send it. Like, that's the way this goes. So, like, I think we're going to see people tighten that up, maybe even shorter than a week, because I think it encourages people to, it feels like a use it or lose it situation. And I think that weekly limit feels nicer. It seems better because you're less likely to, hoard, because it's that video game mentality. There's that meme that goes around where, the video game tells you, okay, here's this limited resource, be sure to spend it wisely, and the gamer's mind goes, got it, never spend this, hoard all of them, right? It's a limited resource. It's like, that's not what we meant, right? Like that's the running joke with when things come out that way. And so by tightening it up, I think that works well. Okay, let's actually do some crap with this stuff. So that's that's the app, that's the setup. Let's rock and roll. You have a whole 1% left, so stop the tease and show it in action. Yeah, so I will say my account isn't going to stop at 100, so I can blow right through that number. At least until June 1st, I can blow right through that number. June 1st, things are switching around, but now we can play. Okay, so we go here. We showed kind of the settings in here. I realized I did miss the settings on the per repository. Couple things I just want to point out really quick. One, immediately turn on this remote control option for your sessions. So what this ends up doing is this allows you to control it. Like they put this feature into the CLI and it was billed as, oh, look, you can control it from your phone. No, that's not the useful part. This lets you communicate sessions back and forth. This is awesome, right? This is a lot more like this is one of the most underrated features added ever, right? There's cool scripts and whatnot, and we'll show this. And then per repository instructions, I will often do things like try to control my, for example, like there's suggestion here of like branch name prefix, right? Run lint before committing. These are some of these, like this should probably be in your Copilot instructions inside of your repo. But like branch naming, I will often prefix with my initials. That's not something I'm going to check into the repo. So best judgment. Sometimes you want instructions that are for you and not for everyone else. This gives you a place to put them. Okay. And so we're going to go here, and I'm going to just make sure I have that turned on. That turned on. Great. Okay, so let's get going. And step one, autopilot mode. So I'll put myself over here for now. So Shift Tab changes my mode down here between the interactive, plan, and autopilot. And you'll note new work tree. Look through the issue backlog and suggest 5 issues that should be easy to fix, right? We will kick this guy off. Now, this should look a lot like the GitHub Copilot CLI. Again, they're both using the same SDK. You're going to see similar stuff coming out of them. This is not necessarily running the Copilot CLI, but they are absolutely leveraging a lot of the same stuff. You will see those things coming through. This is a GitHub repository, which means I am going to get some nice experiences because it can leverage its GitHub integrations. If you are on a DevOps repository, just understand that what you are going to get is going to be whatever the DevOps MCP or CLI that the agent can use is going to get you. So with that said, okay, we got a couple things here. Position pop-ups below input fields, difficulty easy. Dialog host doesn't allow dialogues with height of this. Fixed height constraint to allow taller dialogues. Great. Okay, so now we're gonna see some fun stuff. So this is an open PR, and I know why this one is bad and this one is hard. This is an open PR. Review issues with stale label. Other recommendations. Okay, great. Let's start sessions for 1, 2, and issue pound 4006. Again, you'll see that the pound allows me to automatically link this thing in, right? Again, GitHub integrations makes it cool. So I'm going to kick this off. And now bear in mind, this is working inside of a work tree at the moment. And you'll note what happened over here on the left. It immediately kicked off more sessions. Each of these sessions are now off in their own work trees. Now, these work trees are not hidden from you. So up here at the top, if we look, we can just show and explore, right? And if I come over here, I've got my dev Copilot work trees. I am in here, and I do love how it picked the name Studious Happiness, foreshadowing, right? And it's now spun work trees over here to be able to take off to the races. Great. Again, we can open these directories up if we want to go through and do. It seems to have missed one. I've created position pop-ups below input field, session 2, dialog host constraint. Another, 400, haha, I didn't realize this. I wasn't reading. 4006 is the same as number 2. Okay, great. That's why it only spun 2. I thought it messed up. Either way, great. Would you like me to focus on one of the first, or prefer to work on them yourself? I'm going to let you sit for a moment while we think about what you have done. So the other thing up here that is both helpful and annoying is we are lacking in a couple of things, right? We get these nice, open in VS Code, open in the terminal. That's cool, because most of the time, once these sessions run, we want to then go through and check them, validate them, do that sort of thing. Add app is where we want to go, and I'm going to go dev env .exe, because I want Visual Studio is my go-to. Copy full name, right? Paste, open. We're going to add that one into my list, and then I want to do git crack. Sorry, I didn't actually mean to open it. Get Kraken exe. And so if you do go get Kraken, you want to grab the one that's up at the app data local, because this is the bootstrapper that will feed into the latest version one. So unless you have a reason to add a particular version. So we'll go copy full name, and we will go more, add app, paste. Let's see. Open, and it's going to kick it open, I think. Yeah. So great, fine. So just because I like to be able to open things in Kraken and open things in Visual Studio, I go through and add these things in just as quick and easy runs. Let's see. Okay, so it threw it into plan mode. Let's see. I've identified the exact scope. Custom callback. Existing tests don't cover the pop-up placement. I'll draft a focus plan. Okay. Should this issue fix enforce below field placement only in the normal layout, allowing WPF to auto flip above when there isn't room, or should it force pop-ups to stay below? Auto flip near edges is what we want. And then we'll see what this one is. So I'll point out the little icons here go through and do give you an indication of where this is at. At some point, we're going to get to a little purple check mark. But this is oftentimes my to-do list now, is I see these sessions. When we have these things going, sometimes it is helpful to just care about the sessions, right? Rather than the project grouping. And so that's the flat list option here, is being able to link these. But then you can also sort them by activity, priority, creation alphabetically, right? And you'll note it's put in session names here. We can go through and rename these, right? So for example, I might do move 732 to the front. That way it's, oh, that's not the issue number. Maybe I should prompt it to go through and set the issue number into here, of being able to lock these things in place to set them. I mostly like looking at it from this view. There have been times where like I'm just heads down focus on one project and I don't actually care where these things are. And so I just go to flat session view because that's all that matters to me. But it does change a little bit, right? So you go here, and you say, just show me the ones from my material design project sessions. Like that's what I'm focused on right now. Hide everything else. And now I can just iterate on these sessions. I treat these things the way I would treat interns that I don't care about, right? Is I give them a task and darn it, they can wait for my approval to go and act and do things. And I, sometimes say main things. And when I get angry, I come back over to the home screen, grab the OctoKitty, shake it, and then throw it into a wall. And then we go back. Okay. Let's see. Plan, root cause identified, viewport bounded. So this is the, let's go back to this one, just while my brain is in this one. So placement for the custom callback, update the date picker and time picker XAMLs, reassess and remove if no references remain, update UI test coverage, keep edge behavior allowing this. Don't run the UI test without first getting my permission. So I want to put that in the plan. You're going to AIL. My coworkers have often joked that when the AI uprising happens, they will know because the AI will probably come for me first, because I tend to be mean to it. And so, yeah, like if it's keeping score, it's coming for me first. Okay, we have plan made, looks good. Approve and implement with autopilot. We'll let that guy go off to the races. Next, let's see. Root cause identify, viewport bounded size plus dialog margin, which clips oversized fixed height dialog content. Plan is to make dialog host template overflow safe in the resource dictionary while preserving normal size behavior. Add UI regression coverage. And actually, you know what I'm going to do while I am in here? Just because so this is a clean install. I have a safe state with my other stuff, but I didn't want all my work stuff linking into it. I'm going to go here. Do not run UI tests without first asking my permission. Only because the UI tests on these things take forever to run, and they take over my mouse and keyboard, and I don't want that. So it's one of those things. When I'm streaming, I definitely don't want that. OctoKitty abuse won't allow monetization on YouTube. You're not wrong. You are almost assuredly not wrong. For reference, I do not condone animal abuse. I am actually very excited. So this Saturday, we are getting to go to the Humane Society and hopefully pick up a dog. We'll see. It's dependent upon the dog doing well with my family. So we intentionally delayed a couple weeks so that the whole family could go down, because I want everyone to meet her and make sure that the dog's good with everybody. So, but assuming she does good with the family, I'm getting a dog on Saturday. What are you using for UI tests? Great question. So, ironically, my own library. So it's actually this XAML test. I guess we can go all projects. So this is my XAML test repository. Now, I will say, let's see. For people. So this is my own UI testing library, because I found that the testing libraries that existed for testing WPF apps for styles and templates were insufficient, right? Most people don't need my library because it's not a general purpose UI testing library. It is very specific for testing a snippet of XAML, which most people for apps don't need, right? But for people building styles and templates, it's gold. So it's very purpose built for that. And so I will just predicate it with that. I think it's great for its one isolated use case, but there's not a lot of people who are like control template authors. So if that's you and you can make use of it for that, great, have at it. At some point, I do want to add some extra AI tooling capability to it because I think there's room to improve. Because I was looking last stream, somebody shared it was FLA UI as a testing library, which is great, but it's still, there was a handful of things that it didn't handle that mine does. So you want just visual. Oh, that was you. Okay, great. Yeah, no. So I was looking at it, and it did a lot more than I expected. So I will say that there was quite a bit there. There was a handful of things that I couldn't figure out how to reasonably do that my library does. For example, I can arbitrarily inject callbacks. So, because mine starts up a WPF app shell, injects the XAML into it, but then I can actually call back to code inside my testing library. Because I've set up marshalling back and forth between them, and I couldn't find a way of doing something similar with it. So it's like I could redo a bunch of tests and maybe change the tests to make them not leverage that. So there's potentially ways around some of it, but I was impressed that it had access to a lot more properties than I expected. I also couldn't figure out how to get it to do dependency properties on my own custom controls. It could have been my own usage. I only had a little bit of time to poke at it. And thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. But it was one of those kind of weird situations where I didn't, maybe with more time I could get a little bit more out of it, but I couldn't find a clean solution. Sorry, I was going to go back and see if I could grab the 33 Ruby. Thank you for the follow. So there, like, it was better than anticipated, but it didn't quite fit the bill. But again, what I'm building with theme and with themes and styles and that kind of thing, I think it's such a niche area that I don't expect people to build me testing tools because it's not quite there. For just visual verify XAML, yeah, and that. For app level work, I completely agree. That works well. The thing that it lacks is it's kind of, because it's a snapshot testing, it doesn't handle like triggers and delays and sort of that kind of interaction that I care about. But again, I'm kind of a niche use case, and for people building apps, I think those types of solutions are perfectly fine, right? It's just, as the control style author, I feel like I need more, and I want more assurance on my tests. So, and not to say my library is great either. The number of times we've run into various timing issues and other DPI issues, like there's definitely problems there. I believe most of them have been fixed at this point, and a lot of it just comes down to dealing with timing issues of visual state tree changes and that kind of thing. Okay, just gonna finish reading through this. Add UI regression coverage. Finish targeted. Do not run the tests without asking permission. So we'll let that guy update his plan, and then we'll keep him going, and then we'll get this guy going. I will keep me honest here and let me know if my stream starts to lag out. When I was going last night, I had like 10 to 12 sessions, and I'm going to just move my task manager over here so I can keep a brief eye on where things are at, because I stream on the same machine I dev on, and it turns out that if you turn a whole bunch of agents loose, the agents themselves aren't the resource hogs, but the stuff they spin absolutely will be. And so it's a great way to kind of, it's not really fork bombing if the agents are spamming them all out, but they can spin off a lot of processes, and it can be aggressive and abrupt. Okay, so let's go there. Let's start a new one here. Let's see here. What open PRs need my review? We'll go ahead and let that guy run. And then so this is one of the things that I do not like about this at the moment, is it doesn't make it easy for me to see what's out there. So I still do find myself going back here. Because on my XAML test one, I think what I saw is there was a bunch of stuff going. Okay. So I do have my MCP branch and my master branch. Okay, so we're going to go up here, and while this guy is running, I do want a new work tree, but I want it to go from my MCP branch. Let's see, rebase this on master for me. Go do that. Let's see, open PRs. Position pop-ups. Start a new session to review 4050. I can't type. Probably would have figured it out. If you direct agent to add ration out to direction, like I'm streaming and do not want it to handle mouse and keyboard controls to UI test, it can find workarounds sometimes. Yeah, it certainly could. I think the problem being, and why I put in my instructions up here to not run UI tests without asking permission, is because without me telling it, I don't know that it would know with my library which things are going to potentially cause interaction problems, which is why I just kind of say, yeah, let me do it. Let's see. Okay, so we are up here. Okay, so this is the one for reviewing. So it may not be obvious because there's an empty chat thing here, but just to point out, this is PR 4050, right? Which is the one that I just asked for. So this guy here is changing that out. We can jump here. It blocks visibility of selected items, material design spec. And so completed with issues. Interesting. I don't see a potential problem. I am curious, and this is one of the areas where I wish I could get more details by looking at this. Now, I can certainly click here and jump out to GitHub to go look at this, because I am kind of curious what the failures are. Nullable value type, maybe null. These don't look related. These are all dialog host tests. Okay, well, we're gonna just take this and let's check the stuff. Review. Well, hang on. Something seems off. What did this happen on the latest main build? No, the nightly release went off without an issue. Why did this one cause issues? I'm just surprised because there's no edits to this file. Why is there nullability warnings here, but the nightly release went off? Let's just look here. We're going to stash these for the minute. Because Corvin's branch is right off master. Didn't touch anything related to dialogue. Interesting. Let's see. Let's see here. I don't see any issues with this. I think I'm tempted to just re-kick the pipeline, and this is run twice. Why the heck? Okay. Run the pipeline against master. Look for any ability warnings, errors. Okay, so we're gonna let that guy go because I don't. So one, I have no issue with Corvin's change, so we'll put the approve on it. So that's fine, and then we will go through and whack this session because we don't need this anymore. This will permanently end all its files. This can't be done. Yeah, delete the session, make it go. So we're gonna let that guy go and kick off the pipeline and run it. Again, when you have the remote set up, you do get this cool little open on remote QR code bits to be able to take off and start running it, which is cool. I love that. I am curious. Okay, so this guy is working still, but a couple things I want to point out. Once the agent sessions start actually running, you do have things like create PR, create draft PR, and here we find the best feature ever. I was really happy. Was not planned. My YouTube video with Pierce, one of my favorite things. I asked him if he had a favorite feature, and this is the one he called out. It was like, yes, because it's one of my favorite features too. Agent merge. This is also how I was able to do so many PRs last night. Because again, working on a personal repository, I'm queuing work up as fast as I can effectively draft it. And some of the work I fully know is going to conflict with each other, right? I am doing a ton of work in one repository. Features are going to step on each other. Things are going to go through. This agent merge is awesome, right? Agent handles CI. I don't know how many times I have teammates who open a PR, and because the pipeline validates formatting, make sure people have run lint, make sure people have dealt with nullability warnings, all of that stuff, right? Agent handles it. That is awesome, right? There are merge conflicts because another PR went in. Agent rebases and handles it. I love this. Absolutely love this. It is worth noting, I would be cautious of using this in a situation where you're worried about what the agent might do to the comments, right? Because if your team has a habit of, and what I've often done in a lot of cases is I will put approve on a PR with comments, or I'll put approve with suggestions on a PR with comments, and my team knows that the expectation is this is approved, assuming you resolve the comments faithfully. I don't need to look at this again, right? Like, we have a lot of trust on our team, and the team knows, yeah, as long as, like, I trust the team to use their best judgment. If they resolve a comment and it results in a bunch of changes and they want me to look at it again, happy to do so. But usually my thing is, hey, you use your best judgment of when you need me to come back and look at this again. If you don't think I need to look at this again, you've got my approval, send it, right? Obviously, they could go and take that approval and make who knows how many changes and push it through. But there's a level of trust and validation there that, like, it wouldn't go to prod. It'd get caught in QA. But, like, there is things of that nature. So this is awesome for getting it through, right? But if you want the agent to go through, create a PR, create a draft PR, we can go through and do this, right? Pipeline nullability check. Let's see. Ran the equivalent and treat warnings, found 5 nullability errors. Fix them all. Go. Right, so apparently, I'm curious how I was able to merge a change in that had those errors in the first place. I may have to go back and look at the history and figure out how those were able to get in the first place. I wonder if I bet you there was a Dependabot update. I bet you that's because because the pipeline shouldn't have let a PR merge if there were errors in it. But if there was a Dependabot PR that revved, say, .NET version up to 10.0. What are we at? 202, 203, and there was an extra analyzer in there, that could have absolutely gotten something through. So that could be a thing. Okay. Rebase on master, great. We'll come back to this here. Let's see. Dialog host now handles oversize. Okay, so here's the next step, right? So cool app, lets you spin sessions, lets sessions do the thing. You could do this already, right? You could make work trees, you could go through and you could do this kind of work. But my firm belief is that you still need to review the agent's work. It can type faster than I can. That's not hard. I'm a horrible typer. However, even if it's good, I strongly suspect it is unlikely to ever be perfect, partly because my prompts are unlikely to ever always be perfect, and I don't know that it can ever completely mitigate those things. So I do think it is important to go through and check these things. Now, what we get here inside of this app, and I'm just going to collapse the sidebar for usage bits, or we may even go full code reviewed mode. So just to make it clear to everybody, this little sidebar icon up here lets you pull out this flyout, and this thing up at the top is actually a tab control. So changes is always on the left. You've got a terminal thing here. You can pop more terminals, browsers, open individual files, whatever you want to do. You can kind of just line these guys up, because sometimes you do want to go open a file that's maybe not part of the diff because you want to look at something or otherwise, right? Like that's kind of a thing, right? So if I come in here and I want to go, oh shoot, what is my dialog host themes, right? Like I can pull this in. It's not always perfect, but I can then also like select a range. You'll note that immediately goes as context into my chip. My big head is in the way. Context into my chat, and then I can go through and, you know, prompt the agent with whatever I need to do, right? That's kind of helpful, right? So, and we can close that tab and we're off to the races. It's not obvious in my opinion that this is a tab control, but it is. It is functionally a tab control, and we can spin terminals and all that kind of stuff. We can also, if we go through and configure scripts, this is a great time to go through and run them. Like my Aspire-based applications, I often add a script to my repos that's Aspire run. Because once the agent's done, the first thing I probably want to do in a lot of cases is Aspire run my thing, and let's go and see the thing run, right? So it's nice to be able to just go run, and off to the races we go, right? In this case, we could go through and tie in something with like the demo app if we wanted to, and just tie it all the way in, or obviously again drop into say Visual Studio, right? If that's what I want to do, that might be helpful. So here, immediately looking at this is going foreground 1 and asserting on contrast ratios. I'm a little surprised, and we may go look at this. I think there's actually a way to pull the value out, because ultimately I assume the nullability warning was on the dot value. So let's actually do that. Let's actually pop Visual Studio, because I think this dialog host test line 239. I would love it to have something that let me prompt the individual file that it opens to, because that would be cool. But let's go take a quick look at this, because sometimes there is no substitute for just letting the dev. Let's see. Come on, catch up to me. Dialog host tests. Let's see. Yeah, the UI test ones. And then this was 239. Yeah. So Control G, 239, enter. Okay, so I think assert not null actually returns the color. Yeah, so a better fix here would be, I think, color foreground value, and then just do it that way. I think is probably better, rather than having this kind of garbage, because the assert guards against the null, right? Is it possible to not limit Copilot agents to 4? Would be great if I could set it to 10. I guess it depends on where where are you running into that limit, Izzy? Because I do not have that limit, but I also have a higher skew on mine, so it's very likely that it is a skew limitation and not otherwise. There was a lot of limits that got put in place last week, 2 weeks ago by GitHub, basically because they were dealing with so much load, they put a bunch of limits in place to try to stem that load until they could get the pricing in place, because it was just getting pounded on. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so we're gonna go here. I set the return value from is not null, rather than null, checking the original, make same change elsewhere in the PR. So we'll send that and let that go. The nice part here is this feels like very much a code review experience. Why is 238 returning true false? It shouldn't be. So because the not null, it actually returns back the not null value, because in the case of null, this throws. So the return from it is always the non-nullable value, because anytime you get past is not null, this thing can't be null inside of there. So it's, in my opinion, it's much better to do this rather than the null checky that it was doing in all of the cases, right? And so I can go through and do a very code review style interaction with my agent. And the nice part about this is when I'm hitting the plus, the agent's getting the context of like the line number of where I'm leaving these. And so it's very similar to interacting with like the GitHub Copilot, like the PR agent, or the coding agent out on github.com. But instead of being out there, it's local. Great. Mark is resolved. Thank you. I do wish they would make this thing a little less intrusive, because I find that it breaks up this view a little bit. But that is feedback I have sent them. But that now looks better. That now looks better. This color theme is actually making it somewhat difficult for me to see the green reds. That's kind of annoying. We may go change the color theme in a minute just to see. Pulls the value out. That looks fine. That looks fine. Great. And so in this case, I think it's good. Full send, agent merge. JC, have a good one at work. Enjoy your time. Or at least survive through it. Hopefully your week's almost over. For me, I still have Friday to go through. So hopefully by the time I wake up, your Friday's over. Okay, so this guy's off to the races. We are going. And I believe once this gets done, we will be able to just rebase Corvin's change, and that the pipeline should then get fixed. Izzy, feel free to throw the Get Cracking question at me. Okay, let's see. Dialog host now handles oversized one. Let's review these changes. Okay, so what I really want to do is I want to collapse this, because I kind of want to look at the tests first. So best part about the agents is because I have a lot of tests and a lot of patterns specified, it's very likely to follow the patterns I've already got in place, which is kind of nice. Like that's kind of what you want. Ooh, how did I do that? Oh, that's new. That's new. These split terminal buttons are new. I have not seen these before. Cool. Okay, great. So I'm mostly interested in looking at what it's set up for the test. So it's got the dialog host style to cover both of the dialog host styles. Great, fine. I do wonder, I think we have this pattern a lot in the repository, but I think we may want to do a data source or something that has both of these, because if we ever add a third one, I'd like to not have to update 50 million tests that have the same thing. Let's see. Is it possible to view more lines in a diff? When I review my Copilot changes, I sometimes wish I could review an extra few lines. Yes. Well, let me demonstrate. So if I go here and I go here and I go Kraken, bring, ding, 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 ding. There's the same ones, right? So if I go here, dialog host tests. So if you are inside of here, so one of the things that will bite you is up here at the top, right? Like if you are in hunk view, you end up getting these hunks where you are somewhat limited in what you can see. So step one is probably switching yourself over to inline view versus, because I'm guessing this is where you're probably set as a way of being able to view it, or split view is the other way. I go back and forth a lot between inline and split in a lot of cases, because depending on the type of change, one of these is usually more clear than the other. Right? Sometimes just seeing the split is nicer. Sometimes the inline is nicer, and sometimes it depends on how I'm feeling. Sometimes I'm feeling it. I don't tend to use the hunk view a lot. The one place I use it is when I'm maybe cleaning up some pending changes and I want to discard as groups rather than individual lines. So I do use the discard hunk quite a bit. as a way of going through and leveraging that. But oftentimes I'm not reviewing changes in hunk mode as much as like staging sections. So if I'm actually doing a review, I'm more likely in the inline or split view options of being able to go through and do. So that should give you the entire file as far as seeing a few extra lines. It does usually mean, depending on how you're doing it, sometimes flipping to path mode. If you're just going file by file, right? I think path mode, one of these two reviews, and then I will often stage as I go, just so that my unstaged files end up becoming my to review list, right? And then more importantly, if I prompt the agent to do anything and it makes more changes, I only have to review the new changes, because now those new changes are unstaged versus the ones that were staged before. So it is kind of convenient for that kind of thing in a lot of cases. So, but yes. So first of all, we're going to go change this theme, because this theme is bothering me a little bit. This is a little too much on the purple. That's a little better. That's lighter. Yeah, that feels a little nicer. Okay, we'll do that. We'll try this theme. I keep changing, as long as the agent doesn't decide to stage up. That is true. That is very, very true. There are times where it attempts to circumvent me. Though I will say, oftentimes, if I prompt it to not do that, it will often obey like a good boy. Okay, so we are going to collapse this guy here. The fact that I can just turn on agent merge and let this thing rock and roll, just right? And so once you click up here, you will also see can't merge. Repo rules must not contain blah, blah, blah. So it is going through and running and letting it go, right? I could check this box to bypass. I am not doing this. Yeah, Besby, this is GitHub's new app that just released today. So here are the cool relevant links. The first one being my interview with the PM from the team that built it. I will say, it requires a GitHub Copilot license. 2, if you're on a personal tier, you have to apply for access to get into the technical preview. If you are a business or enterprise SKU, there is a toggle switch your admins can turn on to let you in immediately. So this has been my daily driver for the last couple months, and I have not been able to talk about it, and I'm finally able to talk about it, and I'm tickled to death. So again, only minor caveat is you may or may not be able to go grab it today. My prompt starts with follow the agent directives, MD. Why do you put it in your prompt, Izzy? I would kind of assume, so in a lot of cases, I would generally put something of that nature in like either an agent's MD, a Copilot instructions MD, or now that I have fancy new app, depending on who all is on the team, my personal instructions, right? Because these are very much personal to me rather than shared with the team. So that is the one benefit or disadvantage of it, right? But if it's supposed to be shared with the team, it's probably something you should check into the repo in the appropriate file or similar. Okay, so let's take a look here. I actually forgot what the heck I was telling it to do. Oh, this is the nullability one. We don't need to look at this. We were looking at the dialog host one. Okay, so dialog host. So it goes through, creates a new dialog host. Where is this dialog host style getting used? Did it just... Oh, set dialog host style. Wow. I mean, this works. Man, this is one of the harder ways to do this, though. I just ternary it right in line. Yeah, we're gonna... Yeah. Let's see. Dear heavens, no. Now, I would not lead like this if it were a human, but this is an agent, and right now I'm not concerned about wasting a couple extra tokens to insult it. Let's just use a ternary inline in the XAML snippet above to conditionally set the style. Okay, you go work on that for a minute. So creates the dialog host, sets the style, grabs the open dialog button because the dialog host overlaps a grid. The grid contains a button. The button is just called open dialog. It named it mtn open dialog. We pull that guy back here. We click on it. We wait for the pop-up to show up. We check the card height and we assert that the card height is less than 760 and greater than 680. And this is all around so card height is less than 760, but we intentionally set it to 770. And then remarks it as maybe I need to go read the issue here because this seems like it's asserting the opposite of what I would expect. That looks more like what I was expecting. So once it's done, I'll mark it as resolved. Let me. Do you have the issue link in here? The issue link. Thank you. Because I could have looked it up and gone there. Because I found that they can ignore them if I don't. That is fair. There is and I'm gonna probably mess it up going from memory. There is an order of how the prompts get put in depending on where they are, and usually the user prompt is given highest precedence because that's what you prompt in. You could always put it as a prompt file because my understanding is that prompt files, when used, are no different than if you were to have typed the prompt in. So then you could at least save yourself some typing. Okay, so let's see. In this case, the user had a width and a height of 600 in a user control. Where's the dialog host? The view being shown as the user control. This is the XAMLs. Okay. Let's see, you can see it's a pretty basic 2-grid color zone. Yep. I've added a red border to the user control to better demonstrate the issue. Okay. With the user control height to set, the user looks like it does in the first screenshot. Okay. As you'd expect, the data grid is filled. The second row with the fab sits at the bottom right. Great. You can see the bottom border starts to disappear, and with a height of 77, the bottom border is completely pushed. So this goes down. Let's take the stale tag off. Waiting on feedback. Let's see here. So the possible unaware of dialog margin. Yeah, I am curious if this is even a good fix. We maybe should have read the issue before we turned Copilot loose on it. Okay, so what did it change exactly? So it dropped the margin for dialogue margin, max height, max width, and then put a scroll viewer on it. I don't know if I like this. Should dialogues have scroll viewers built in them? I think the answer is no. I think I would rather, if people want scroll bars inside their dialogues, I kind of want them to put them in. Because if I add them here, they get applied to every dialogue, whether they're needed or not. Versus, which is kind of wasteful. Like, at some point, we have to do some cleanup. Yeah, I think we're going to throw this away. I think I'm going to go put the stale label back on that because I think that was probably fair because there was no extra feedback added on here. So we're going to put that back, and I should have probably read this issue before letting Copilot work on it. Oh well. And this is this is one of the things with AI-based stuff that is more interesting is trial and error becomes cheap, right? Like, I didn't waste a lot of time aside from reviewing that to go through and do it, and that doesn't bother me that much. Okay, let's see. Pop-ups, the placement here. Now, I am curious because isn't this the same? This looks like it might be the same issue as what Corvin's fixed, right? It's the same thing that Corvin's was doing. This is the same issue, but I am curious what Copilot did differently here. So there is a... I'm curious here on this one of why we have custom for large pop-up callbacks. Feels like there must have been a reason we did this. So then the nice part here is this is actually putting in a change. I'm concerned here because I think it would need to set the window position, and I don't see it setting the window position. Opens below the text box by default. Which this is true. That seems interesting. So what was this one doing here? Large up, custom pop-up placement. Why was it doing this? Large pop-up callback. Because this guy was setting the static. This was referencing the placement callback. This was doing the placement callback with size, target size, and offset. Completely throwing it away, setting the point to 0, and setting the primary axis to horizontal, which does seem to move it to the right. That's very, very interesting. Show me the .NET run command for the demo app. So I think we're going to go add it as a script real quick. So I don't want to think too hard about doing this. So that looks good. So we're going to go here, configure in settings. We're going to come down here to scripts, add script. We're going to call it, let's see, MD2 demo app. Command goes like that. And so the other thing you can do here too is on these scripts, if you have something that you want to run on workspace creation or cleanup, right? Like workspace creation, sometimes maybe it's, you know, a .NET restore or bring in your NPM packages or whatever, right? You can set up triggers that will auto fire on those. So we'll do that, and now if I have here, I've got this, and I can just kick this off. Provided path doesn't exist. Really? CD source. CD main demo. Isn't that what we did? And then is it not main demo? Where's the C# proj? Oh, it's material design demo. You lied to me, Copilot. You lied to me, liar. Okay, so we're going to stop this execution. So kill that one off, and we will go configure scripts, and we will go fix its horrible, horrible mistake. This is why we do not trust you, Copilot, because you lied to me. You ruined our trust. Not that I trusted you that much to begin with. I trust you to be helpful. or I trust you. I trust you as far as I can throw you. Maybe. Let's see. Let's see. Select the target framework. Oh, I don't want to have to do this every time. So configure scripts. Come down here because I don't want to. I don't want to do that every time. So I'm gonna do -- framework net 8. Was it? What is it called? Net 8.0.windows, I think is what it was. 8.0.windows. Good. Okay, stop. Do it again. I don't want to think real hard. I just want you to launch. So the nice part is it will do the compile for me just because that's how .NET works. So now if all I want to do is launch the demo app, I don't actually have to like fire Visual Studio up. I can just click the button here because sometimes that's all I need. Okay, so I want to look at the pickers, right? And so this guy here is going to be, that seems fine. That one is going into a dialog, so that's also fine. Custom pop-ups. Let's see. Where is a time? Oh, I guess the time picker control is up here. Because there's pick date, and this is going to be pick time here. Pick date, and then I'm going to bring this down near the bottom of my screen where it's going to be forced to go the other way. That works. Okay. If I put this down near the bottom, what do you do here? You go up, and if I put you on the left side of the screen where you've got nowhere to go, there we go. So that is perfect. So the only question I have then, so kill execution, is this a good test now? So we load up the stack panel, we set a time picker, great, with set a width. This is all fine, I think. I'm just, the thing that gets me here is this coordinate bit. I'm just worried, like, I think this will work by accident, but I'm not sure that it's bad. And what I mean by that is my UI test launches up on the pipeline on a screen that has a resolution of 640 by 480. So it's tiny. And the window that it defaults to is roughly that size, but a slightly smaller, so it's not maximized. But it runs the controls inside of there. Actually, it might be 1020 by 780 now that I think about it. Regardless, small resolution, fires a window up that's not quite full screen, but close, and then it puts content inside of that. Because of that, the window is going to more or less be centered, and this stack panel is going to be in the windows, and the time pickers and calendar pickers aren't going to be near the bottom, so this should always work on the pipeline. So I think that's okay, and this is basically the same test here. And I think I kind of like this change over Corvin's. Let me see, did my other one go through yet? Mobility check. Are we still working on this? Oh. So this is one thing that's worth noting. So the way you'll note what it's doing is start sleep down here, and you can actually go through and look at the agent merge skill. So it'll actually, because it's sleeping right now, it hasn't realized that the pipeline's finished. So I can actually come in here and I'm going to save some trouble because it does an incremental back off on how quickly it checks. And so the longer your pipeline, the further back that increment is going to get, which I get it, right? In some cases I want to pull a little quicker. And I think, let's see, agent merge this, leave a, Well, actually, let's go out and just leave a comment on Corvin's. Let's see. I think I fixed this in my own PR, cleaning up the callback as well. So we'll do this. We'll leave this one here, and then this guy should go through and go. Once, show me the PR. So PR created, great. 4052. So I want to leave Corvin's a comment on that to let him know where it is. Let's see. Pound. There we go. Okay, that's up. That's rocking. We are cruising. Okay, pipeline nullability check. That one's done. Clear that session. Pop-ups below input fields. Agent merge is off and running. We'll let that guy rock and roll. Okay. Find more issues to work on, right? So we are just going to rock and roll down through a bunch of these and keep this one going. This guy is going there, and then while he's thinking about that, we have this. Review the. So on this PR, this is adding MCP server support. Let's go through and review the MCP tools and suggest any gaps that I might have. We'll let that guy rock and roll there. Come back over here. What did you find? Okay, drawer doesn't display at all. Bug intermittent. Okay, start a session for pound 3829. We'll let it go. We'll let it go ahead and kick that off, and we'll go through and look at this one. Let's see. Dialog host can't take full width and height. This one I don't think we want to do. Not closing open pop-ups. There's the open PR for. New colors don't match old ones. Okay, skip the rest of those. Look for other issues. Let's rock that one going. Let's see, what do you got here? Let's see. Main is strong for inspection editing, but weak for interaction synchronization. Chris, welcome in. Welcome in. I saw you were streaming earlier. Hopefully your stream went well. Good to have everyone in. Let me grab. I have my links. Insta follow. I will take it, bots one. I don't know if that's an actual bot or not, but I will take it as it sits. So we are playing around with GitHub's. I actually saw you lurking. Yeah, I was. I got to help boost your numbers too, buddy, because you oftentimes are sitting there lurking on mine, so it only seems appropriate, right? But yeah, so GitHub released a brand new GitHub Copilot app this morning that I've had it since March, so it's a couple months now, and I absolutely love this thing. So it is effectively an agent orchestrator style application, definitely biased towards GitHub integrations. You can use it for other stuff, but your premier experience is obviously with GitHub repos. And yeah, so we are going through and playing with it. Those links there, the first one is an interview with the PM Pierce, which is, if you're interested in the who, what, where, why, it's awesome. The other two links are both the announcement as well as a link to the repo. Probably look like a bot. I am, in fact, not a bot. Excellent, bots one. Thank you. But I do appreciate the follow as well. The one caveat I will put on this is it does require a GitHub subscription in order to use. And if you are hoping to use it today, if you are on a personal tier like a Pro or a Pro Plus level subscription, you have to apply to join the preview. Versus if you are on a business or a enterprise, there is a switch an admin can go turn on to get you in immediately. So just be aware if everybody's like, oh, this is great, let me go grab it. Well, that may or may not be as trivial depending on whether you get in. It is definitely technical preview. There are gaps and bugs here and there, but I have been using it as my daily driver for AI integration for the last 2 months, and it is, I think, one of my absolute favorite ways of doing this stuff. Like it is fast and it is pretty, and if you want to be irrationally happy about something, it has lots of theme choices and even a dice to just randomly pick a theme. So when you can't decide what you like for the day, you can do something random. Just go for it, right? There's only 55 choices at the moment. So again, I get excited about the dumbest little features, and this is one that I get excited about. So it is awesome, and we are immediately ripping through and just sniping stuff all over the place. Okay. Let's add a tool for direct interaction. I want a single tool for all mouse and keyboard functions. So we'll let him go work on that. And then let's see. And this one here was the drawer a host. There's the plan. Let's see. Reproduce this issue with a regression test based upon the behavior. Implement reliability fix. Synchronize output. Looks good. Send it. So we'll let that session take off and go. I got all twisted when open code added sounds. I will say this. The sounds on this one do exist, but I will say the fact that they added in the... Where are they? Oh, Keep Awake isn't on yet. Keep that on. They have a volume control, which is really nice to be able to independently control the app's volume. I love that. Just being able to kick this off. So, and it is going to kick off and run my UI test. Excellent. This is going to be mildly obnoxious for a minute, and I apologize. Yeah, Chris, if you have time, I would love a compare contrast of this thing. You can share now versus GK's thing. Not for stream yet, obviously, but yeah, no. And I will say, because I mentioned it on stream earlier, because last week I started off by going through GK's V12 agents tab area, which is kind of a step in this direction, right? It gives you a centralized, easier way to be able to spin a work tree, automatically open up your agent inside a terminal in that work tree. The only thing that I would say that this gets a lot better is it's so much quicker. This one feels like it's more like type prompt, press enter, versus like click, click, do things, set things, then go, right? It's a lot more back and forth and feels a lot nicer. Now, if my UI test didn't, steal my cursor and mouse and all of that jazz, but I did, allow it to reproduce the drawer host problem with a UI test, so I can't fault it too much for then going through and doing this. I probably should have told it to only run targeted UI tests. That's probably on me. I did approve the plan to say, yeah, epilepsy warning is 100% right, and I apologize because the UI tests on this library absolutely go bonkers. And they are insane. So while that is attempting to go, I'm going to see if I can grab my way through, because I don't need that. Those are the links I shared. Don't need that. And close that one down, and we are going. Okay, so it's gonna think about its life for a moment. And I may try to we may just stop it for a second and the running process is going to keep flashing on me, isn't it? I might have to just kill the .NET process to make it stop, because I don't really want to wait for it to finish, because it can take like 6 minutes, and I don't really want to wait for that much time. There we go. Okay, it did end up canceling. Only run targeted UI tests. Don't run the whole suite. Okay, and we're gonna go add that real quick to my user settings. When running UI tests, only run targeted ones for the specific tests needed. Don't run all of them. Just because, like I said, they do take like 6 or 7 minutes to get through all of them, which is just mildly annoying. Let's see. What are your feelings on tokens per second versus how many agents you have running? So I think for me, I don't care as much about, well, I maybe need to phrase this a little bit, is I don't care about this as much right now. June 1st, I might have a very different opinion when the pricing stuff changes. But my usual opinion is as long as I'm getting good value for my token usage, I don't mind it that much. And so it does depend. Let's see. Say I get like 60 tokens a second. How many agents should I run at once? Probably not many. 1 or 2, I'm guessing. The hard part with just, major epilepsy warning incoming. Did you actually target properly? Oh, you did. That's at least better. Okay, sorry, you're firing this off. Yeah, I feel about the same. I think for me, the other thing I'm being mildly cautious of is last night I did 34 PRs in 2 hours. Like me and this app, we were rocking and rolling, but I was on a repo where YOLO was the way, and it was the user base was 1. So YOLO was fine, right? So on full YOLO, don't care about token usage, like I can make this thing scream. I did then run into an interesting problem where at about 10 to 12 agent sessions, the agent sessions themselves don't consume a ton of resources, but the processes they start absolutely do, and my machine started having issues keeping up. So depending on what kind of workload you're sending them, that there may also be a local compute power limit on what you are doing, right? So in my case, I was running a full .NET Aspire based application. So there's, backend services, there's containerized databases and all of that. And I've set it up nicely to where I can have a lot of concurrent work trees going without them stomping on each other, which is great. But when you have like every agent firing up an MS SQL container and kicking all of those things off, like my system only has 32 gigs of RAM. At some point I hit a limit and then my system goes, yeah, no. So there is a bit of an upper bound in doing this for local compute. So unless you start delegating to cloud-based runners, and especially while streaming, I'm trying to limit the number of parallel sessions I fire up as well, because I am fully aware that it will do bad things, like also minimize all my windows, which is always exciting when it does similar things of that nature, to be able to have it run, which again is fine. It gets a little interesting. Let's see. We're going to rename this one to be MCP tools, just so that I can keep track of that and have it going well. Let's see. Pop-ups. This thing is off and running, and we're just waiting for CI to finish. Though we could check it immediately. It just checked it 10 seconds ago, so it's probably not done. Yep. So, best feature ever, by the way, is this agent merge button. Like, the fact that I can say agent will automatically address CI issues and merge when ready is pure gold. Like, that's another way that I've been able to get through a ton of PRs, is especially like you open up 12 sessions, the odds of those things not stepping on each other and causing merge conflicts is like basically zero, unless you've been really good about segmenting your work. And so being able to just queue those things up when the work is done, agent merge all the things, and saying, yeah, Copilot, you deal with the merge conflicts. I'm not thinking about that. Like, full YOLO mode is awesome, right? Because there are PRs, like on the repository I was working on, they were absolutely stomping on each other, and I could almost see the frustration in the agent of like, another merge conflict. Dang nabbit. It's just like a real engineer. It's wonderful. But having it be able to launch and go through that process was It was kind of fun. Like, just full send it. So that part is nice. I am guessing if I look at my account, yeah, we hit that last 1%. When we started tonight, I was at 99%, and I'm yeah, I was pretty confident I was about to blow through it. So that one is exciting. Okay, what else did you come up with, Copilot? Perfect, has completed its work. Based upon, here's a quick priority ranking. Great. What would you like me to create sessions for? What else did you come up with? What else did you come up with? That is not, we aren't going to do that one. Let's start at the top. Stop it. Add combo bot. Here, I'm going to move my cursor off to the side so I can keep reading. That way it launches Windows on my other screen. Let's see, add combo assist drop down background property. To customize the background color. This is probably fine. This seems like a very simple thing to do. Let's see. Start a new session for #3887. Great. Send it. So we'll let that thing go and do that. What else do you got for me? So again, you can see it now kicks off a session and takes off to the races. And typically on a lot of these, it defaults itself into plan mode to start, which is kind of nice. It doesn't always do this. I've noticed that depending on how I prompt it to spin the extra sessions, it may or may not do it. Specifically, if we've already had a discussion in the main chat about how to implement something, it'll often just feed that context in and then just send it. If I'm in autopilot mode here, that goes across. So I don't know exactly the implementation behind it or when it decides, but it definitely seems, it doesn't seem consistent and seems like it's using smarts to try to figure out which way it should go. Toolbar toggle button. Yeah, that seems good. Start a session for #3679. And honestly, okay, AI hot take for the moment. One of the things that I am somewhat concerned about with all of the pricing changes coming around and all of these things is that there's going to be a growing girth between open source projects that have funding for tokens or maintainers that have access to tokens and those that don't. Because my ability to just start chugging through these items goes up really quickly as long as I've got tokens to spend. I can chug through stuff really quickly. There's been a number of times where I've seen issues come in, and the first thing I do is task an agent to say, go write a test that replicates the bug that just got reported, right? Fire it. And that's kind of nice. Okay, what'd you come up with? Which API should, for the background customization? Theme brush key. Yes, I think that's probably what we want to do. Because in this library, I think that's probably best. Because I don't know that this is ever going to need to be changed. Brush key, review the name of it with me. We'll let it do that. I'm kind of fine letting that go. What did you come up with here? Okay. That's good. Let's jump into PR review mode now. So sometimes the drawer does not display at all. So I am more interested in starting with the test to see what kind of test it wrote, and then we'll circle back up to see what it did. So it did create its own view model with a bindable property. Let's see. We have the MVVM toolkit. Use it. I also have a bad habit of sometimes giving short, terse prompts, kind of just to see what it can handle. But I'm fully aware that use it is somewhat ambiguous, and it may or may not figure it out. But it looks like it's hit the mark. So, good boy, Copilot. This looks like it's probably a white space change here. Did they add in the... They did. Oh, dang it. It is very obnoxious that one of my UI testings is minimize all windows. Like, it does it intentionally. Thank you. You don't. See, so there's that. That's fine. Let's take a look at the test. So we have a grid. We're setting the data context of the grid, which is going to inherit down. We are creating a view model directly in our XAML. Interesting that we're setting it to true here. I don't hate it, don't love it. Usually I would say the view model settings live in the view model itself, but this is a test, not real app, so I can kind of ignore it a little bit. Let's see, we've got the drawer host with the width and the height. We've set the binding to the view model property. Great. We've got some context in the right drawer that's just an arbitrary border that doesn't really do anything. In fact, doesn't even have a color, so you won't even see it. Yeah. Okay, pull the drawer house, pull the right drawer, get margin. And this is bound, so it's automatically open. Remote execute, set drawer state. So this then goes and changes the Boolean that it's bound to. And then it waits for the right drawer's margin to effectively go to 0, because why would the right margin ever be negative? Because it's going to move off the screen, so it will hit a slightly negative. Because it has a width, the right edge of it, because it will move all the way off. So wait a minute. It sets drawer state to false and then waits for the right to be negative. Sets the drawer state to true and waits for the right drawer to be 0. Something isn't sitting right with me. Why is 0 the comparison here? Actually, are we to 0? All right, we'll let it justify its answer. I don't understand why it's comparing the right edge. Because get margin returns back a thickness struct. Is drawer fully visible? I didn't tell you to change it. I just asked why. Is drawer fully visible? Left is 0. Dang nabbit. Stupid minimize command. I need to put in... You know what? Why am I talking about this? Hang on. Let's go. XAML test. The minimize all behavior is annoying. I want to add support for setting environment variable that when set will let's see, cause it to not minimize all windows, because I want the default to still be do it, so it does it on my pipelines, but I'm perfectly happy to set it here. Name it XAML test disable minimize all. YOLO, send it. Okay, we'll let it think about its work there. Back to our dialog host code review. So replaced, great point. I updated to make the indent explicit to avoid single axis magic check. No, I don't need that. So we're now checking the visibility semantics of only the right component. I reran the targeted UI regression test and it passed. I don't doubt it does, but if the margin is 0, Maybe I need to just, okay. Let's see, file. I would like to look at drawer.xaml. Let's see, this is the material design 3. Clearly it's kicked off something else that it now is insistent upon needing to run. Yeah, go away. My apologies for the seizure warning. The one problem with this in agents is they get overeager. Nope, stop clicking. Yeah, I'm sure you're running tests and are unhappy. Which one of you kicked off? Which one of you is running? Oh, it's this one. It's not my... Oh, okay. Okay. Avoid... Sit over here. Void. Stop it. This is the problem when you have a UI test suite. It's like fork bombing, but with your mouse and keyboard input. Yep. I get it. You're unhappy. Let's go here. Let's cancel it for the moment. We're going to give it a minute. Because I would like to come in here and I would like to be able to control my settings. Avoid running the UI tests without asking me for permission first. When running UI tests, do not run the full suite. Only run targeted tests. And one of these days, I'm going to learn how to spell. It's not today, but one of these days I will. Let's see. That's on. Good. Okay. Continue, but don't run all of the UI tests. Thanks. Okay. You can go ahead and run. Back to the drawer host. Okay, so what do we got? This is not it. I wanted the drawer host. Is it not in the... Where is the drawer host styles? It's the navigation drawer. Where do I keep the styles? I don't see it. Oh, nope, cancel. That was the wrong button. Stop. Nope, you don't get to go. Let's see here. Open Visual Studio. I just want to go look at where the drawer host styles are at. I think they might be in the defaults. I don't know where they are. Yes, Izzy, same time next week. I do have one event coming up the first week of June, the 4th. There is a chance that there may be I may end up having to either delay the time or move it or cancel or otherwise, but I'm still trying to figure out the thing. But yes, next week, same time. Oh, I think I just missed a follow. I'm not. Oh boy. STP Nutberg, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. For anybody who might be just joining, this is the new GitHub Copilot app, not Visual Studio, that what you're seeing here, but there are the links of everything I've been sharing. Okay, so we're going to come down here, and I think this is one of the only annoying things about new work trees is Visual Studio's defaults are kind of annoying. Not really the fault of anything other than it because a work tree is basically brand new. Let's see here. So I am wanting to find where the heck we put Our drawer host ones, do we not have a... Like, there isn't a drawer host one here. Where the heck is the... Like, there's a navigation drawer here, but where is the... Am I blind or stupid? Where the heck is it? Okay, Copilot, what are you asking for? Disable, minimize all. You claim to have implemented it. So if the options is there and there. Dang it. This is why we need the feature. So it stops doing the minimize all functionality. Stop it. I'm trying to work here. This is exactly why we need it, because I'd like to tell you to stop running, and yet it's going to keep minimizing my window. You are beyond annoying right now, Copilot. You are beyond annoying. Let me have my windows back. One of the material design ones. Which one is it running? Okay. I can find the .NET host process and terminate it. In task. Ah, gotcha. Gotcha. Do not run the UI tests locally. Stop it. Short version, the agent merge ran into a UI test problem and decided to fix them locally, which is conveniently annoying. Okay. I want to review this one real quick. So we have our environment variable name, which matches what I said. The condition here to verify checks the environment variable. Let's require it to be true, case insensitive, rather than just non-empty. Right, we'll do that. And then we will, let's see, it wrote a test in here. Yeah, this is absolutely insane. Yeah. Revert all changes in this file. We don't want tests. I don't know that there's a good, reasonable way to test these either. Like, how are you going to assert that you did or did not minimize all without putting a seam in the code? I think given that this environment variable is purpose in life here is local dev, the test will be, does it work well for me? Okay, so that one, it did. True string, ordinal ignore case. That seems fine. What have you done? Violet, wake up. Okay, you go think about what you've done. Yeah. Back on the drawer host. Okay, so margin right. And we were trying to figure out where the heck I keep my drawer host styles. I do not know where these are. I should know this. This is all demo app. Don't care. Don't care. That's the control. Don't care. There it is. It's in generic. Of course. How silly of me. Okay. Did not think about that. So this guy here is going to grab and animate the opacity in and out, which is fine, but I'm just curious why we're checking margin now. Ah, that's why. That's why right there. Because we are absolutely animating the margin in and out from 0 to 1. Got it. That explains it. Okay, so that makes more sense. Mark is resolved. I think this is now overkill, but I'd rather it be overkill than underkill. Okay, so that seems fine there. That seems fine there. Okay, so on loaded, it's now wiring up for loaded, which is fine. I don't see an issue with that. So whenever I see the plus equals, I'm immediately looking for memory leaks because this is implicitly capturing this variable as part of the delegate that goes into the event. But in this case, it's capturing a reference to itself, so I'm not really worried about a memory leak there. It's watching for drawer element size changed as well now. So if the element inside the drawer has the size changed, check if the sender of the event. I feel like I'm missing something here. Is there an wire drawer? Okay, so this is called in multiple cases where it is going to go through and do this. Okay, so it is going to be called for each of the drawer controls. If the center matches the element and the drawer is open, then we update visual states. I don't see a problem with that. The only thing that is bothering me is that the test here doesn't change the size. It only is toggling the drawer open. I would like to look at the issue, the bug report itself. Give me the issue link. I'd like to look at the bug itself and make sure that this is actually solving the problem. Are you still thinking? Did you not merge properly? Some checks are failing. Yeah, go fix them. Oh, stop. Fix the failing checks. There. Okay, so here's the issue itself. Sometimes the drawer does not display at all. Encountered issue. We should tell it to stop giving us stale ones. This is an interesting fix. I don't know that it's the right one, though. Using WPF, and I've encountered this issue with drawer components. Sometimes the drawer does not display at all. However, when I modify the binding mode, set it to two-way, and trigger a hot reload, the drawer displays correctly. But I'm unsure the cause. The problem happens intermittently, and only the drawer component seems affected. Yeah, I do suspect that this is stale and not done. So we are going to put this guy on the back burner for the moment. Let's go down. Let's look at this guy here. Let's see. For the new override brush, which resource key name should we standardize on? Okay, thank you. That's what I wanted to discuss. Combo box pop-up background, combo box background, no, drop-down background. I'm torn here. Part of me likes pop-up part of me likes drop down. Let's leverage the quick chat real quick. I want to look at the material design specs. I am naming theme brushes. Do they call the pop-up in a Windows? Do they call the thing that shows the options in a, trying to not use the name, in a combo box, control a pop-up or a drop-down? So we'll just send it. And I probably could have gone as far. So there, because this thing is very similar to the GitHub Copilot CLI, we do have things like /research. And honestly, a lot of times when I'm using these quick chats, which are just chats that are external to the context of a repository, a lot of times that I'm using them, I am usually using the /research command to say, hey, I need to go figure this out, come back and let me know what you come up with, because that is an interesting one. Okay. Should the implementation code include both demo updates and targeted toolbox UI alongside the new one? Yes, do the demo apps too. Thank you for asking. Let's see, what'd you come up with? Short answer, it's a drop-down menu or menu, not usually pop-up. In WPF material design and XAML. Combo box pop-up naming. So for brush names in this tool, but I did this external, and I'm kind of hoping it didn't look at my projects, because it absolutely will cheat and do that. Pop-up matches the project conventions. For spec UI wording, use drop-down menu. Still torn. So short version, I have, do I match myself or do I match theirs? Give me links to the material design spec where they call it a drop down. I want to go look at these. Let's see. Disable, minimize all. Let's see. Did you lose your mind and get stuck? I think it lost its mind and got stuck. Cancel. But at least it did everything I wanted. Let's see here. I think it's just... this is one of the areas on the preview where occasionally it does seem to like just the state updates don't line up. Like it's done despite the fact that this thing thinks it's going. Agent merge, send it. Okay, let's see. Exposes drop-down menus. So let's go ahead and look at these links. I would like to look at these just to see. One of the best ways to avoid hallucinations is to make it cite its source. It's not really the right control there. Okay, expose drop-down menu. This is what I would call a combo box, so that's kind of okay. Let's look at the material design 3 one. Oh, that is very much combo box. Vertical menus. That's not one. What does it call this thing? Doesn't really say there. What does it say for states? Those are not really the same, but they do link those things together, which is interesting. And they do call it drop-down menu and expose drop. Okay. Okay, well, we should probably follow the spec. Let's do that. We'll follow the spec. That feels better. Let's see. Agent merge is rocking and rolling. What did you do here? What did you change up? The problem is it's now going to be a combo set of changes, so I'm going to have to look at all of these. We may have to look at this one a little bit later because that one's going to be bigger and more confusing. Let's see here. Combo box drop down. Okay, so it's got the brush name. It's going to update the theme colors JSON and generate new theme dictionaries to expose the new key. Great. Update to use the new key in the pop-up. Adjust the transparency. So data grid combo box follows the same background customization model. Add a focus test for resource availability and pop-up background. Do not run UI tests. Yes, that sounds more like what I want. Send it. And then I think I need this anymore. We'll delete that chat. Don't ask again. Okay, toggle button. So plan, implement new material design toolbar toggle bar button style and toolbar theme that visually matches that. Flat when unchecked. That makes sense. Rewire static toolbar to use the new style so toggle bar button picks it up automatically. Yes. Update toolbar samples in both demo apps to clearly display the behavior. Add focus UI tests to the new toolbar. Run this only as a targeted test and only after explicit permission. Yep, send it. Okay. Rockin' and roll. See, this feels nice. And this guy is after needing to fix. What was the... Oh, interesting. It ended up needing to revert the tests to deal with the problem. I wondered if that was going to be a problem. The fact that this is one of the things with agent merge to watch out for too, right? Is it had tests and it sacked them in order to get the CI to pass. Like that is absolutely a thing that you will see happen with the agent, and something to keep an eye on if you do leverage the agent merge stuff is it will, because once you've given it a task, the agent runs until it tries to meet that task and will leverage anything in its arsenal to get there. And in this case, agent merge says make it merge, which is awesome. But it does mean you do have to occasionally keep an eye on it to make sure that things don't go away. One of the best ways, like if you have rules around saying, I always want tests, just ensuring that your pipeline forces like code coverage on changes is a great way to ensure that your agent can't cheat, right? Because your DevOps process is effectively the guardrails for your agent. And the better you've made your DevOps process, the better your agent is going to behave, because those are the rules you've set up. If you've put no rules up, it's real easy to cheat. And so we are off to the races and then running. I don't want to add issues that have waiting for feedback labels. Okay. Let's just straight up tell it to let's see here. Was there anything else that I wanted it to do? Yeah, next set of issues, and we'll be nice this time. Please, I'll ask nicely because you've been a good little agent. And then you're still going. Oh, CI finished. So I'm going to let this one sit. It's going to wait 300 seconds before it checks the next time, but we'll let it go so that we can watch the agent merge chug through. Let's see. Drawer host doesn't fire when closing a drawer by clicking outside, likely missing an event handler. That I feel like let's see, start a session for 2186. If you can spell, that is helpful. Yeah, so we'll kick that one off. Incorrect foreground color in data grid combo box. Column drop down. Text color is wrong in combo box drop down when scroll bar is visible. Visual bug screenshot evidence. Interesting. I might want to, I feel like I want to read this issue better before doing it. Hint appears under border when text box is disabled. Let's see here. Start a session for, let's see, 1725. But before fixing anything, I want to see a test showing the failure. Suspect it has already been fixed. We're going to let him go think about that. Let's see, the MCP tools. I wanted to look here at on its recommendations that it had for no wait sync primitives. We're not going to do that. No app window discovery tools. Yes. I want the MCP tool to work similar to the .NET Spire MCP, where it can track running instances and broker callers to the right one. Research its implementation and just a plan. We'll turn that one loose and let it go. Drawer close load event. Okay. Investigate and lock down drawer host close path consistency. Serve and non-commands. Focus on this. Verify the issue is still occurring before fixing. Because I have a suspicion some of these older ones may already be fixed. Let's see. Disable, minimize all. The 300 seconds passed. Agent merge the PR. Bippity boppity booyah. We're done. Boom. Next. Okay. Let me wait longer and try again. Are you still thinking? You are still thinking. That is one of the things that I do want to work on is getting the time of the pipeline down. I wonder if there's a way I could. I'm just thinking that it may be possible to try to dial this sucker down a little better. I'm going to think on how to do that. Because that is one of those areas where it would be nice to be able to intelligently only execute the needed tests. And it's sometimes hard to know what that is. Let's see. Start with, but I am wondering, maybe if I did something that ran only the targeted tests on the PR and then the nightly ran the full suite, then it couldn't ever get past nightly. That's a tempting idea. That is a very tempting idea. Hey, Copilot. Okay, so here is the plan. I want to make my PR pipeline runs faster by limiting which UI tests need to run. I want to create a script that looks at the changed files in a PR and then determines which set of UI tests are affected and only run those on a PR. For the nightly release, I still want to run full suite of UI tests. Yeah, this is one of those nice things is with AI, the cost of experimentation is cheap, right? So let's experiment. Let's see, for the repo test scope, should it? Wait. Outline text box styles shown in the issue screenshot or parameterize the test across fully filled outline. Let's do all three styles, please. Great. I'll update the plan for the parameterized output. Great. You do that. You do that, Copilot. But like in case it's not obvious to people, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 agents running in parallel. And I'm just keeping a brief eye on my usage because I'm also acutely aware that I have 26 .NET processes all kicked off and running right now, which is a little bit ludicrous. Let's see, drawer host. Start with a strict reproduction gate. Verify before doing that. Branch plan based on findings. Reproducible, code fix, tests. Not reproducible, tests only hardening, no runtime. Logic changes. It doesn't reduce. Don't do anything. Check back with me to review your test. So I kind of want you to just hang out for a minute. Let's see. Add test only repo. Implement one parameterized UI test across all of them. Build assertion around runtime coordinates. Reuse existing text box pattern. Yeah, we're only doing a reproduction there, so that seems fine. Let's see. Strict reproduction check. If reproducible. If not reproducible, and stop to report the reproduction test findings. Back to you for review. Great. Target UI test coverage. Only true. Yeah, send it. So the only thing that's going to bite me here with this many sessions is if two of these sessions decide that they both want to run UI tests at the same time, and those UI tests want to use mouse or keyboard. Because there is only one mouse or keyboard, and those two UI sessions are absolutely going to fight with each other. One of the things that I am looking to add into XAML tests at some point is effectively like an input lock. That way, if I have two sessions, there's going to be like a global mutex that all XAML testings will lock on to basically, like, I want a mouse lock, I want a keyboard lock. That way, if a test needs those things, it can acquire the lock and make sure that they are the only ones using the mouse and keyboard and not some other instance of doing it. Like normally, that's not a big problem if it's a single developer. The developer runs the tests. You tell the developer, don't do these two things at the same time. With a bunch of work trees and things chugging, the timing of that gets a little wonky. And it gets a little weird. Okay, invoke. And actually, let's do this. Maybe we will go through and do this. The tests, let's see. Right now, there is a problem if two test sessions run in parallel and they both want to use the keyboard or mouse or rely on focus. I want to create system mutexes that XAML test sessions will or that test can lock on to ensure that they properly wait for each other before running. Suggest what such a API would look like for this. I don't want to expose the mutexes directly to consumers. I want them to still use nice XAML test APIs, perhaps a flag enum to indicate needed locks. Yeah, we'll see what it comes up with. Okay, so it just did the PR test scope stuff. Come back to that in a minute. Let's see. Oh boy, I'm just hearing ding, ding, ding in my head. This thing is just firing. So what do you got? What do you got, Copilot? Let's see. Create a test-only repo. I did not run because you require explicit permission first. If you okay to confirm. Great. Let's see. Run the tests and verify the bug. So we'll let him kick off for a moment and go ahead and run. This guy here merged the PR in, so we'll go ahead and delete that session. I feel like we have gotten more things done. No issue. Reproduction was found in the approved scope, and I made... Oh. Why did it pick red as its background color? Dear heavens, Copilot, do you not know that fuchsia is the color? Yeah, it just set the background to red. Why? What? Like... What? Okay. I might have to add something to my instruction file that informs it that clearly, when doing UI work, fuchsia is the to-do color, not anything else. I believe that's where it goes. Okay. Let's see. So the bug is currently reproducible. Implement the fix. Yeah, we'll deal with that in a minute. Let's see. I ran a targeted. But you didn't run the UI test. Wait. No issue. Reproduction was found in the approved scope, and I made no code changes. How did you reproduce? Like... At a unit test level. You made no changes. I ran this targeted test. Is both passed. This mean the bug is fixed? I assume that's that the targeted non-UI test passes. The report issue is specifically about runtime click away closing, which I have not. The current status is not confirmed. Okay. Right? A UI test that matches the... Dang it. I know I told it to run. It's just annoying. That matches the behavior. Okay, do it. Okay, so you here. Let's just launch the demo app and take a look at it first. I love having... This is one of those things. It's simple, but having simple scripts that you can just auto-fire, like in my case, launch the demo app. Right? That is a nice feature. That guy's building. Let's go here. Or actually, maybe before we get too carried away, let's take a look at the code changes a little more. Let's see. Close the terminal. I don't need that. Okay, so what do we got here? Toggle button, tooltip. Okay, so this is in the menus and tools. Yeah. And we are looking for one that is the format strike through variant. Going to be down here in the toolbar section-y area. And I suspect where I don't know which one I'm looking for. A borrowed check, by the way. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate you guys dropping in. Welcome in. Tonight we are playing with GitHub Copilot's new app that they released. And people are interested. There are the key links. I have been using it for the last couple months and have been loving it. It is my daily driver. Unfortunately, I have not been able to talk about it until they hit their preview this morning, so was tickled to death when that launched. Couple key things to note. It is GitHub Copilot specific, so if you are on a different agent, it's probably no bueno. And it does require a GitHub Copilot subscription. And if you are on a personal, like a Pro or a Pro Plus level tier, you have to apply to join the preview. If you are on a business or enterprise SKU, there is a toggle your admin can turn on to give you access immediately. So just fair concern. And we are having all kinds of fun with the fact that my UI tests like to minimize all my windows, which is exciting to say the least. Okay, there is that. I appreciate that it did that. I just want to see where this thing is, though. Because before it was a toggle button around a separate... Dang nabbit, stop it! I'm trying to review the file, and you're minimizing my windows. I understand you're doing things. Okay, so this guy comes right after the separator, so radio, gaga, etc. So, separator... And then it should be the format kind strike through. So it should be this guy here. And if I just check the XAML styler, dang nab you. You know you're being annoying, right? Copilot? Stop minimizing my windows. I am going to be putting that PR fix in shortly. So it should be the very last one down here. So this is the toggle button, whereas the other ones are radio buttons. So this is just on off, which looks pretty much in line with what I would expect with how the radio buttons look. So that's not bad. So the display of it seems reasonable. Let's look at what we've done. So background and border are both being set to transparent. Border thickness 0. Foreground is being set what looks like appropriately. Border clippedness, clip to bounds. Mouse over border, which I am seeing a slight change there, and when it's there, yep, that seems correct. And content template, rounded brush. And then what did you do for a UI test here? So this is not needed. We don't need this test. We'll get rid of that, and then I think I am happy with it. Because this really is a visual one. And then I think what we're going to do is we are going to, once it gets through those changes, open the PR, add the release notes label, Add it to the next milestone, which I realize I have not done on the last two, so we're gonna have to go fix those. Add visual breaking change label. Because if I don't imagine people have too many of those. But let me go up here. I close this? That's pretty good. Let's go here. I want to put this guy in the milestone. And I want to add the visual breaking change. Like it is a visual breaking change, but it is only because like before the behavior was bad, and so now the behavior is not bad. It's kind of unlikely that it's gonna bite people. This one doesn't really matter, but let's go ahead and put it in the milestone anyway. And then see, were there any more that I didn't put in? This one just got closed by me, apparently. By me, I mean Copilot being overly helpful and eager. Let's see. The label is release notes and visuals breaking change. Did you do all the things I told you to? Yes, yes. No. Wrong milestone. But great. See, we're going to go here, and then we're just going to turn on the agent merge feature so that it watches it and makes it go. Let's see here. No UI test. I only did a complete check. This. Run your new test to... screw it. We'll let it run its new test. And then, let's see. Result 4 out of 4 pass. The test update. Updated and kept the issue repo. Okay. Do your thing. Go do the, let's see. Now measures the actual render. The strict not under coordinate is applied to the outline size. Okay. So you actually made a change here, but I do not trust this change. Oh, I do not like random conditions here. Okay, so we're gonna come back to this. This one, I think I may have yanked the mouse on it. Why we need to block. Let's see. I think what we decided is this one we wanted to... Yeah, this is waiting on feedback and marked as stale. I think we're just going to kill this off for now because I don't know that we actually want it. Dang Nabu. Okay. Maybe I need to just let it have its way for a minute. Let's see. So implemented combo box and customizable to the new key. Added new brushes to resources. Change the combo box thing. Remove alpha. Stripping. Remove alpha brush confirm for pop-up background setters. That is interesting. Let's look. So, combo box, we are switching from just a basic background to a specific brush. The scroll viewer is changing to have, from rather than just bringing in the background from the pop-up, which I assume is higher up. Yes. There's the pop-up there. It is taking Oh, it doesn't have an explicit background set on this, is it? Oh, no, there it is. So it is using a fallback brush so that it can set one or the other. Now, rather than leveraging that, it's going through the transparent. I am realizing the fact that this thing has a tag means that if a background was set there, we don't actually need this. Because this is going to fall back to the new theme brush. And we actually probably want this over this. So I don't know that we need... Set our part pop-up background. Because before it was pulling in the tag. So when is the conditions that these triggers are firing here? So multi-condition is opened. Color zone assist standard. It's bringing those in. I don't think I actually need these setter changes. I believe we can solve this entire problem by this simply not using this brush and just using the new theme brush. Because then if somebody wants to control it, they can just set the theme brush. And as long as the theme brush is set, if there is no background explicitly set on the parent control, the combo box itself, it should fall back to the theme brush. Okay. I think we are just going to communicate that back here. Don't think we need any style trigger changes. When setting the new theme brush, if no explicit background is set on the combo box, it should fall back to the new theme brush and just use that. Sure, the UI test reflects this. Okay. Let that guy go. While waiting for drawer closing. Try again. I won't touch the mouse. Sorry. I'm gonna just do this. Hands up. No touchy. Because I know it's gonna minimize all my windows. It'll probably make it happier to have that. Can I touch it again now? Retried and failed. Okay, well, failures a result. Drawer closing event. So this is reproducible in this environment. Okay. One file change. Oop. That was funny. Oh, it's going up underneath the header. That's an interesting UI bug. I'll have to report that. Implement a fix. Okay, we will go there. Let's look at this. So what did you come up with? What did you come up with? UI resource locks. I don't like the name, but it's at least there. None. Keyboard, mouse. It is a flagged enum. I don't like the... Well, I guess keyboard is... Yeah, that's probably okay. Input all UI. I'm trying... I realize I told it to do this. I'm just unhappy that I told it to do it. At some point, now that we've got the new environment variable that we just added, I am going to go set this on my sessions so that it stops minimizing windows while I'm attempting to stream. That is annoying. UI execution options. Okay, you know when I'm trying to move the mouse and you then take control of it? That's kind of annoying. Um, that's kind of okay. Nice. XAML test API surface, run async. This isn't bad. It's not quite what I had envisioned. And I didn't tell it to do a lock timeout. But I had kind of envisioned in my head some sort of using type syntax where, because obviously with any of these locks, you want to know when you're going to release them. This isn't bad. Horoscope style if you want finer control inside. Acquire, yeah, so this is a little more akin to what I had in my head. But now I'm trying to decide what I actually like better. This feels like a little more in line with how the rest of the library works, like specifically the snapshots that I do. Because we've got the little success thing. So this feels like nice feature parity. I'm not sure I'm thrilled on the names, though. To a name system mutex and acquires them in a stable order to avoid deadlocks. Hands up, not touchy, no touchy. Just annoyed that you're minimizing my window that I'm trying to read. This keeps consumers on a high-level APIs and never exposes mutexes directly. I do like this. I think I like this. I think I like it. But I don't know about the UI execution options. I think maybe just execution options. But I don't even need this class if I go with this API here. And I think I dropped the word UI off the front. I realize resource locks is potentially going to be a name conflict with other things, but I'm kind of okay with this. I think I'm okay with this. I like the scoped style better. I want to name the enum resource locks. Also want a timeout value of 60 seconds, not 60 seconds when the touchy. When the timeout is not set. We'll do that, I think. Let's see. Resource locks. Does that look better? Acquire resource locks async. Is that the name that we want? Acquire resource locks async. Again, this is one of the nice parts about the AI stuff is I feel like experimentation's cheap. Do I like that interface? The value task gives me pause because value task is useful in the case where you expect to succeed, and that's probably true. Acquire resource locks async. It's probably a good enough name, I think. It's interesting because the C# definition here is, I assume, describing an instance member on app. I'm wondering if it should be an
extension member. I wonder if an extension member is better. Probably not.
Okay. And then obviously, because if you want the geeky answer, you could, or the non-geeky answer, you tell it to do it. If you want the geeky answer, make it so. And then you send it. Okay, so this guy here, that looks better. So now it is just... Don't know that we even need this transparent on the scroll viewer. Because I actually don't know that I want that. Let's get rid of that. Don't want the explicit transparent on the viewers. Send that in there as well. Let's see, material design theme light, that's fine. There's the theme colors in there. Seems fine. And then here is the test, right? So if the theme brush is set, does that get applied to the combo boxes pop-up? So it pulls the background, is assignable to a solid color brush. That's a horrible way to do the type checking. No touchy. I don't like this type check. It'd be a cleaner type check and assignment to the desired type returned rather than needing this plus a, realize my big head's in the way, plus a hard cast. Let it think about its life there. That's the generated test file. That's fine. Touchy. I don't think. What is this doing? So it's an STA thread. Combo box structure exists in theme dictionary. Yeah, get rid of this class. We don't test. These are pretty low value tests. I'm not going to keep them. Testing time is a premium, and sometimes we don't have the ability to take that. Okay. Let's see. I've confirmed the failing path is specifically close all command, not raising the drawer closing. In the UI scenario, I'm now fixing the close drawer command. Close each dock to one shared cancellation aware path. Okay. I mean, it's getting to the point of some of these are starting to look better. So at least it's going there. Let's see, and this is just waiting on the agent merge to go in. Great. That guy's rocking and rolling. Text box hint on disable state. We were coming back to that. Oh, this one here. This is, let's see, UI test mode full, required type string, UI test changed files. So this is my desire to be able to run the tests intelligently. So what did you come up with, Copilot? Impress me. Impress me. So switching to a .NET, trying to read, and you are constantly interrupting me, Copilot. You done?
You made the little dingy noise.
So that's probably an indication of done. Which thing finished? Oh, the test lock API one. Come back to you. Okay, so
Individually executing the test projects rather than executing the solution, but I assume the difference. Why are we doing this? Oh, because this is excluding, so test non-UI. So this is explicitly excluding the UI test ones. I feel like we could do something fancier with MS Build, so we didn't have to have this problem. But we'll continue to here. Darn you, Copilot! I am trying to read. You are making my life difficult, and I do not like. You done? Okay, well, he's beeping at me. Let's see. So, get affected UI tests. I want to see that script. Um, huh? Why do I not trust you? Why do I not trust you? Okay. So, short version, the thing, yeah, we'll do that in a minute. Changed files text. Interesting. So it went with if it sees one of these path keyword tests, mapping these through. Interesting idea. Like, we're gonna probably need a mapping at some point. Just don't like this that much. I like the output of what I probably get with this. I just don't like this. I just don't like this. T-Unit has a lot of extensibility, and I'm kind of wondering if I could set something up in the pipeline to abuse that. Just don't like this implementation. It doesn't make me feel good. I don't like it. You're still waiting on the agent merge. Let's see. Target test results. The test now passed. Okay, so what have you done here? Actually, it is 12:30. I may come back to reviewing some of these a little bit later. So I might need to go and crash a little bit and get stuff going. So hopefully this has been somewhat educational on going through and leveraging this. This sort of flow, I think, is where I expect at least my agentic style development is going to go. I don't know. There are, and we'll go here. We'll go here, right? So, hot take. I don't subscribe to the idea that the agents are going to replace engineers anytime soon. There is a category of problems that they are very good at, specifically ones that involve churning out code. They're pretty good at ripping through. Like, the agent can type a lot faster than I can. I will never compete with that. But it sucks at the thinking part, even like the brush stuff, where it wants to go and write the setter triggers and all of this extra stuff to be able to make it go. Like, no. Like, that's, and I think even like that last one with the testing stuff, because it makes experimentation easier and faster, it's really nice to experiment with stuff.
because you can throw something out there and go, let's see, how do I like the way this works? Do I like the API? Do I like the feeling of this? And it didn't cost me a couple hours of time to get there. It cost me a few minutes of waiting for an agent to churn it out. So the cost of doing those types of experiments, seeing what's good and what's bad, I think is better. I don't foresee a situation where I just straight YOLO all the things. Especially when when I have a blast radius that's bigger than like maybe me and a few friends, like then I care. And I'm not going to just straight YOLO stuff all the way through because I care about the output of it. And so those types of things are more interesting. I do think, though, that tonight, just going through some of these simpler ones, I think I merged more PRs into the material design library in a single stream than I have in a while. So that's it, like the last time I think we got this many PRs through on a single stream was when we were just doing PR reviews and other people had already opened them, and it was mostly about just reviewing them. Now I don't have to wait for somebody else to open those PRs. In theory, I can have an agent start on it. Now, I don't think the agent's going to get it right perfectly. Like agents and the tooling, especially around XAML stuff, is still playing catch up. So it's there is some things that need to happen on that front. But I do very much like these styles of orchestrator apps of being able to fire off sessions very rapidly, being able to manage those things back and forth, be able to bounce around. I think this kind of direction is where we start to see tooling catch up, and hopefully where it feels more like engineers working together. It is worth noting, I have noticed a cognitive load that comes from all of these sessions of managing this, right? Like I get it takes time to go back and review these things. That is still an absolute bottleneck, but I do like this app's integration where I can just kind of have inline chats like a PR with my agent as I go. That I think is really cool. And then the agent merge functionality, especially when it's like, I just want the thing to go. The number of streams we've had on here, even where I'm sitting, you know, I've got my PR screen up and I'm watching the CI checks and making sure they've passed and then merging them and, you know, turning on the auto merge. Most of the time, once I've got the PR to the state where I want it, I'm happy to let the agent, you know, do the rebase, deal with the CI problems, and let things go through. So at least on that regard, like once I don't know that I necessarily leverage agent merge in a lot of situations, except for ones where like I know this is in a good state, like my team's already reviewed it, given me the approval. Okay, agent, do your thing, make it happen, right? You know, some other team member I know is going to be merging conflicts, but you know, agent merge it in, deal with those, and as long as everything still passes, we're good to go. So I think it's pretty cool. I will drop the links one more time for anybody interested in them. Again, for people watching, check out my YouTube as far as the interviews playlist that I have. It's right at the top of the YouTube. It's the latest one with Pierce that has or currently latest. That's going to change soon. That's going to have the discussion on the new GitHub Copilot app. You may hear us call it the GitHub app because prior to a couple days ago, that's what it was called. And then they renamed it, which I think going to GitHub Copilot app was a good change. So that part is great. Next interview I have scheduled to drop on there is Stephen Curry. Some people may know him from a lot of his blog posts around like async and await and a lot of .NET related technical stuff. So he is a fellow Microsoft MVP. I believe I'm scheduled to record that next Monday. So it will probably be out sometime next week. And the nice part about that one is there are no NDAs holding me back from publishing it. So it will be published as quickly as I get it edited and ready to go, which should be good. I really enjoy talking to Stephen. And so if you do any amount of .NET, especially if it's threading related stuff, he's recently started his own YouTube and getting videos up there, so we will be discussing that, and links and all of the things for it will be included. So hopefully that will be exciting to people. With that, I will tell everybody happy coding. Thank you for those of you who rated and dropped in. Always nice to have people, especially seeing some new faces and new chatters in here. So do this every Thursday night, or at least it's Thursday for me, maybe Friday, depending on where in the world you are. As always, happy coding. See everyone next time.